Welcome to the Triple Takeover Toycast, a fortnightly podcast all about Transformers and yes, sometimes other toy lines as well. But tonight we're keeping firmly on Transformers and we're exploring one of the most, I think, interesting and exciting and, well, let's put it frankly, undeveloped areas of Transformers history. It's Transtech. Now, you guys know a little bit about this or not so much?
Nothing.
I know quite a bit.
You know quite a bit, Liam.
Yeah,
Quite a bit.
I was on this from the beginning. It's one of those where it's the greatest what if in
It is,
the
isn't
Transformers toy lines. It's that, the sliding doors moment where Transformers
Totally.
could have gone one way and instead it went somewhere else. And it's just one of those things where I've listened to Mr. Archer's podcast over there. I've read all the stuff. I remember as the news was coming out for years. I remember when it was touted as that it was going to happen.
Yeah, I do
back
as
in
well.
the ancient times. And
Yeah, 2001.
So I was going to ask, so 2001. What was going on in
Yeah.
2001 for me? I don't know where I was in 2000. Oh,
It was an odyssey in 2001. No space
It
odyssey.
really was. It was a space odyssey. It was, it was a transforming space odyssey.
Dave didn't want to close the pod bay doors.
Yeah, there you go. This
Nice.
is really like the ultimate Transformers what if, and more than any other part of Transformers history, this is like the real break point in a way, because it's
Yeah.
very much the point where they were going one route and they had it developed and they had, well, to a point, they had it developed. They'd got it surprisingly far down the road in terms of its development, the line and everything and what it was going to be. And then they chopped it and did something else completely different instead with Armada. And I don't think that kind of sudden sea change has really happened to the same level since. I think this is like the one major time where it's like, as you said, it just went a completely different route.
Yeah, it's a major stylistic shift of a time. It's
Hugely.
basically they actually moved with the culture at the time because
Yeah.
prior to this, like Beast Machines and Beast Wars and stuff, we've talked about them a lot and how when you look at all the designs and sort of the anatomy and stuff, it's very image comics.
Yes.
And that's what things were looking like at this time. Transtech is like the pinnacle of that. That's where it was still going.
Hugely.
When Transtech dies, it's the exact same time things shift from that image style. Generally, people are starting to look at the anime style now, and that's kind of that was coming in, and that image style. I'm just saying image style as a oversimplification.
No, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But that's how things looked. Everything had that kind of like buff, like kind of very techno-organic. There we go, techno-organic. That thing was going out the window and
Really over-exaggerated. Yeah.
We were moving back to anime robots more, sort of that kind of influence and a bit more kind of classic styled. And I think it's just that moment in time where it just could have gone a completely different way, but it shifted at the same time as everything else did.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's always fascinated me. And like you, I remember being around, in the fandom online at the time and seeing this stuff like the kind of leak listings and all of that dripping out and just being like, what? What is this? And then it not happening and them going a different route with it all. And, the stuff that's come out since and still continues to, to this day. So it really is fascinating. And we're going to do our best to kind of summarize it and put it in front of your eyes tonight, Jace, because I guess you're not as familiar with some of this.
It's really interesting, this, because like you guys know that although I was a fan and indirectly in the fandom, I wasn't online, I wasn't consuming, I was just collecting until I did the interview for TF Source with Maz.
Right.
It wasn't really kind of in the fandom, if you like. And even now, I'm not entirely, if that makes any sense. That sounds odd, doesn't it, when I'm sitting here doing this podcast?
I was going to say, Jason doing a Transformers podcast. I'm not really in the fandom.
No, I'm not really in the fandom.
Content creator extraordinaire.
But what I mean is
I'm also not currently high.
I don't go off and like find stuff and look for stuff because I hate spoilers and stuff. So I'm constantly trying to avoid things. But at that point in my life as well, I absolutely just was not aware of anything getting leaked or, I was seeing...
You were writing your diaries, weren't you?
I don't know what I was doing, Liam.
Doing your around the world in 80 days Willy Fogg sort of thing.
Yeah, I was planning going away. I was running a couple of my first businesses. I can't remember. I just graduated as well. I was probably drunk. That's probably what it was. I think, yes, that's what it was.
I didn't realize Transtech was that old. Wow. Are the images in black and white?
Yeah, they are. I was going to say,
exactly.
some of them are in black and white actually.
Just line drawings, exactly.
Yeah.
They're all robots with top hats and canes and stuff.
Any farthings.
It's going to be wild because but you know me, I'll suddenly be like, oh, it's this, or probably that.
I'm not sure you will. Actually,
either that, or I'll be absolutely like bowled over. But again, I love that I'm in this fandom. I am in this fandom, but I'm not aware of this, right? I feel like I've missed a big chunk of something, and it's quite exciting.
This is really it's quite under the radar. Well, it sort of is, and it sort of isn't. In that I think a lot of people have heard of Transtech, and a lot of people, there's a lot of like talk about it, but because it's not like the sort of, cancelled last season of animated where you can sort of see that it lives on in different designs and things. This is really like, a lot of it is just concept art,
right?
This kind of stuff. There are some prototypes, which we've got pictures of, which we'll talk through tonight. And, a lot of detail has kind of come about of it. But it doesn't really exist in like a central place or anything like this. There's no big Transtech resource or anything like this, and it is a real oddity.
It's worth me mentioning as well to everyone listening that because we were talking about doing this episode, I purposefully didn't go and look.
Yeah,
because part of the fun.
I told you not to.
Yeah, and it was we were having the chat. I was like, no, don't go and look, because so there hopefully will be raw reaction to what I'm going to see as well. And already, what you're saying, Liam, because I know Image Comics very well, because I was collecting comics still at that point, and everything that was going on within. I presume it was Image Comics you meant by Image as well, in that kind of Dreamwave style.
Yeah. No, it's that. Yeah, it was just that techno-organic style. Marvel was like it at the same time. Yeah, you had a cable and a lot of everything had that
everything
kind
was
of
over
overly
the top.
buff.
Yeah,
people were part robot, part this. Mixing and matching.
There was a definite shift sort of from the end of the 90s to the 2000s. There was like a real, just as you said, like every brand was sort of doing it, weren't they? There was like a real new feel that came in.
Well, it was like buff. Is this when we got buff Star Wars figures and buff Batman figures? And
This is, they were, so the buffs, that's more the mid to late 90s. So this is the era we're talking about. So that's when Beast Wars and then Beast Machines are following those same trends.
Yeah.
And Transtech would have continued that, but like by the time Transtech is about to happen, that stuff is starting to fall by the wayside, and everyone is now looking at sort of more anime is flowing into the country, and cartoons are starting to shift like that. Toy lines are coming across more regularly, and so instead we get it just changes, doesn't it? I think I assume they must have just looked at it and kind of just kind of realized. And Beast Machines at the time had sort of not performed, had it?
No, there was a lot of that, and there was a lot of reason internally within Hasbro that the change was made, which we'll go into all of that and we'll get into all the nitty gritty. But it was a real purposeful and coordinated aesthetic shift. They wanted to bring about a change and kind of go back to basics with Transformers, and again we'll get into all the sort of behind the scenes of why that was. Before we get to that, we should mention that of course we do have a couple of sponsors for the evening. Let's not forget, the first of which is tfsource.com, and we will come back to do a bit of a longer segment on them in the middle of the pod. And we also have another sponsor for the evening, and that is valar.co.uk, which is a kind of collector friendly database website, isn't it, Jason? All your favorite words.
All my favorite words that come together to make it accurate, unlike my current database, which I now accept is very out of date because everything's on Valar now. So I'm still uploading. I've now started uploading some comics as well.
Oh, that's good. That's a good idea.
Hence our previous conversations. Partly because I was kind of interested. I've not really kept up with comic collecting and all that kind of stuff, but I was having fun uploading the UK Transformers comics and working out what they are, and that they've doubled in value from 25 pence to 50 pence.
Wow.
So, raking it in. This is great. Yeah, it's good fun though. It's really satisfying uploading everything to Valar as well. So busy with that right now.
Nice. And of course, if you use code Takeover, you get a bit of a perk, don't you?
You do indeed. You get 25% off your first month.
Is that what it is? I thought it was
check that.
No, I thought it was. Was it not first 3 months?
It might be first 3 months.
Yeah, you get something. Let's put it that way.
It's fine. I can check this. I'm live checking this.
Yeah, this is professional. This is how it's done, isn't it?
Yeah, get on there. Stop putting your stuff on there. There's lots of things you can put on there. You can put anything. We met Elliot, didn't we? Me and you.
We did. Yeah, we met Elliot again.
Cool dude.
Yeah. We hung out with him, didn't we, in Birmingham for the day?
I was very jealous that you got to do that.
Yeah, we were talking smack about you, Jace.
It sounds about business Jason, and we were like, who is this weird different?
Yeah, business.
Oh
Jason.
yeah, he said that we he said that he was talking to you, Liam, about me being business Jason as well.
Yes.
I'm like, Jason is like the nicest, most lovable human in the world. I can't imagine a business Jason in like.
That's not what I said.
It's like it must be like what's his name, Lord Business from the Lego Movie or whatever.
Oh no! Don't compare me to Lord Business. I'm not like that.
Like,
You know, I'm not going to craggle everything. I'm a very nice business person. I promise. My fiance Kelly, she also has seen Serious Jason, which is a very rare sight. Serious Jason is nearly as rare as Dark Jason. And
I've seen Serious Jason once, and it amused me greatly.
When was
in a
that?
way where. When we were at TFN and they like double charged you for the room.
Oh,
yes,
yeah, that was
yes.
Oh,
and I saw the
Serious
look at his
Jason.
face, and he kept marching back and forth. But like
Yeah.
he'd be chatting and he'd be all giggly and jokey, and then the tone would shift when he had to go back to the desk. And like a sudden switch,
That's
and it's
it.
like a small cloud would appear, and he'd be like, "Who is this?" Like clouds
Serious Jason. Yeah.
Yes, snap.
Yeah.
know,
You know that bit, the clip that they always show from Superman, where Christopher Reeve, his body language completely changes, like just as he becomes between like Clark and Superman. It was like that. It was like your whole persona changed.
It does.
And everything.
And my face just, the smile goes drop. You know, it's just like, nope, this is serious now. That's
Serious
it.
Jason.
I can confirm, just to make it very clear, the
good.
Val Art discount for Triple Takeover is 25% off for 3 months. You were quite right.
There we
So,
go.
there
I
you
thought
go.
it was 3 months. Yeah. Okay,
you know.
good.
Yeah, we're talking about Elliot. You were saying about all of the different kind of things that go into Valar. It's really fascinating how it works and all that stuff. And someday I'm going to log into it to put stuff onto
You're
it.
on the Discord now. You're on the Discord. That's good.
Yeah, I joined up and posted a picture of my dog. But I was saying, like, man, it's not just Transformers and toys, is it?
Where is this
You can
going,
put-
Liam?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you can put anything on there. Like, I don't know, like we've had the Valdunican stuff. You could put wine, but you could also, I imagine people who go skiing a lot collect stuff, and then they probably want to value up what them sticks called. Are they skis? No, what are the sticks called?
Poles.
Oh,
Ski
there we go.
poles.
Ski
Yeah,
poles.
those. Oh yeah, Johnny ski pole. You get the skis. Remember those shell suits that they all wear?
Yes.
Especially when they go into those places like Val Thorens, in Switzerland, a ski resort.
What?
It could be Val Thorens.
I've never even heard of it.
It's a ski resort in Switzerland.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
You definitely
no,
Googled
sorry,
this.
in France.
I was going to say.
In Switzerland and France are the same
It's in
place,
the
aren't they?
Alps, isn't it?
Basically, yeah. See,
You definitely Googled this.
You can have Val Thorens art. There's people collect all sorts ski stuff.
You can
Yeah.
collect a ski
My girlfriend
resort.
has a snowboard. Yeah, so we have a snowboard in there somewhere.
You know what? Snowboard's not a bad shout, actually. I bet that would be interesting to upload. Someone listening,
Val
go get your
Thorens,
Triple Takeover 3-month discount and let us know how much what
What
you
are you
get.
going to say? Get your triple takeover snowboard.
Oh, that would be excellent.
Oh,
don't
you
sell
can do
those.
that. Rebel.com /
Yeah,
takeover.
exactly.
Yeah, that
Explore.
that should have
Whatever it is.
Ultra Magnus can't handle this on the snowboard. I think that
Yeah.
would be the ideal. As
Maybe
you
that.
wipe out. Yeah.
Wipe out. Yeah, you could have a wipeout. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. Anyway, all of that aside, and Liam's
no
fantastic
joke.
puns. Oh God, Liam's fantastic puns. Just as I'm saying it, look at that.
Sixo's getting snowboarded by this conversation.
You're not wrong. I do want to get into it with Transtech, and you were just talking there about the kind of internal, the internal logic of making this change and everything. I mean, to kind of set the scene. So, Jace, this would have continued from Beast Machines, basically. So they'd done Beast Wars, obviously, which
Yeah.
you've now
I'm
well
aware.
versed in. You
I'm
know
aware,
what that's all
yes.
about. Beast Machines was its own thing, and we know that you love Beast Machines Cheetor.
Favorite. Yeah.
Yep.
That
Best
guy.
toy ever.
Love that guy. After the
Yep.
Stingray guy. And
The depth charge?
Depth Charge, that's the
Yes,
guy.
you always bring him up.
It's the
You're
only one
literally
that and the crab guy are the only two I
right.
actually had.
Rampage, yeah. You always bring that like depth charge is your go-to. I know.
I do really
You're
like Depth Charge. He's such a cool
I know
figure.
about Beast Wars.
That's the extent of my
anyway,
knowledge done.
yeah. So they did Beast Machines, and what had obviously been happening throughout all of this was a kind of a slow kind of bringing back of vehicles, like over year by year.
Yeah.
And I thought that this was just kind of like, I suppose thematically you look at it and you think, oh, that's interesting. But apparently this was actually like a kind of coordinated thing behind the scenes, that they were slowly kind of drip feeding vehicles in, because they'd had stuff like the Transmetals in Beast Wars in 1998. It all had little third kind of vehicle modes. Even if it's like a rat with wheels, it's still like a sort of a...
There's so many
counts.
rats and cats you can do, isn't there? Before you're like, God, I need to do something else. Planes.
Well, yeah, there's still more animals they could have done. There was never an aardvark and things like that.
Was there a badger? There needs to be
no badger.
What about a vole?
No vole. Yeah, there's lots.
A deer?
Lots of, no deer. No. Oh deer.
They need to go back to the drawing board.
Exactly. There's lots that they could have done. But they had sort of slowly been drip feeding back in the vehicles and that. So it started with transmetals. Obviously, in Beast Machines, you'd had the Vehicle. So like half the toy line is like, they're not like traditional vehicle modes or anything. They're kind of like vehicles with faces and things like that. But still,
but cyber,
jets and things. Exactly.
They're cool. They're the best ones. I think they were the ones that enticed me to Beast Machines. But as soon as I saw them, I was like, ooh. So it worked on Hasbro's part. I was less interested when it was weirdo, creepo, beasto things. But once I saw the Jetstorm, Thrust, and Tankor, I was like, "Oh, this is a little bit more interesting." But it's
something for me.
Yeah.
I think you have to look at the time as well, though. It's like at this point, things like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh were really big.
I was thinking that.
Yeah,
and they were big as video games and toys in their own kind of way. But also, you had their cartoons, which had come in at the tail end of the 90s, very start of the 2000s. And so things were shifting, weren't they? And it's funny because you look at stuff like Armada, and then you look at things like Yu-Gi-Oh, the card games and all the different things like that, the little action toys you would get there, and you start looking at now you look at things like Armada with the mini-cons, the gimmicks. It's very thematically similar to these kind of things like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh.
It really is.
Beyblades, which I think probably came later, but all of these things kind of feel very of a time.
They do, and I think Hasbro recognised that. So where it was going with Beast Machines and onto Transtech was very much a kind of evolution from there. It would have been almost like a third part of that Beast trilogy, if you like. But it was going to kind of continue that evolution of like organic beasts and everything into more like vehicle modes and things. It was apparently, so I gather, going to kind of stick with the idea of continuing from the Beast Machines storyline with the kind of organic Cybertron and all of that stuff. But it would have been like proper vehicle modes. So like even Cheetor, who was one of the prototypes that was made, has a sort of like dragster mode and things like this.
They just turned it to an organic planet. They just learned all these lessons.
I know, it doesn't make any sense.
Now they're back to polluting vehicles.
Yeah, it's so strange, isn't it? Yeah.
It's quite
destroying
strange.
the environment.
Well, the fictional side is really uncertain. I mean, I think the assumption is that it would have carried on from the Beast Machines storyline. But actually, by the point of it being cancelled, I don't believe that Mainframe had been really involved at all. Like even assuming it was going to be Mainframe, which I'm sure could well have been the case, but that had not been confirmed by all accounts. And I should say that all of this, by the way, a lot of it is not necessarily like confirmed solid information. There's a lot of conjecture about it. There's a lot of like half rumors and whisperings and like piecing bits together from different sources and that kind of stuff. So I will do my best to try and say, I think this is what would have been the case versus this was actually going to be the case, and certainly with the fictional side, from what I've read and what I gather, Mainframe had not been brought in yet. And Aaron Archer is quoted as saying that actually the relationship that they had with Mainframe at this point was quite unusual, because normally with like a lot of animation studios, they would be brought in quite early into the sort of toy line's development to kind of co-create the look and feel of the characters and this kind of thing. But actually they weren't. And certainly with Beast Machines, the toy line was developed first and then Mainframe were brought in after. And it was going to apparently be the same with Transtech. So a lot of the design was done in-house in Cincinnati with Hasbro and Kenner, and kind of was all done exclusively there, not with Takara or anything. This was a purely Hasbro-led project. And Mainframe was going to be brought in much later into the gig, if you like. So there's no like show Bible or anything like that for Transtech. There's concept art and stuff, but nothing that says this is what the storyline would have been. So, but people tend to assume that it would have followed on, which does make sense because it's a lot of the same characters and things like that. So, and I'm sure they would have found a logic for it, like an explanation or whatever, much as they did between Beast Wars and Beast Machines. But quite fascinating. But in terms of what was happening at Hasbro, the reason it all got kind of canned, if you like, was that, of course, they just had a CEO change. So they brought in Brian Goldner, who'd come in as the new Hasbro CEO, and he did a complete sweep of all of their kind of core brands. So whether it was Transformers or My Little Pony or G.I. Joe or whatever it was, he basically just like went through everything and assessed kind of top level how they needed to get back to basics with it all, basically. And his idea was to really focus on those brands. And I think, like you were sort of saying, Liam, he was looking at the kind of landscape, if you will, of like Pokemon and that kind of thing, and basically assessed that with Transformers in its current iteration of Beast Machines at the time, that it was just too dark, too weird, not really like recognizable iconography of like what made the brand sort of familiar to like mass audiences, if you like. Do you know what I mean? And I think they'd had a really like a real gangbuster in Beast Wars, but even with the end of Beast Machines, it had sort of gone quite far off that path, you know, in terms of like, you look at where the designs were for like Cheetor and everything from where they had been when they're most popular, and they were sort of really unrecognizable by this point. So I think internally within Hasbro, the direction had been really popular, and there was a lot of good feeling around Transtech. And so I don't want to at all paint like where they were going as like a bad idea, because I don't think it was.
No.
At all. It was just
interesting, but different.
Exactly. And I think Brian Goldner looked at it and went, we need to be more back to basics than this. I think he wanted to bring back the kind of the classic iteration of Transformers, you know, kind of very obviously like Autobots and Decepticons on Earth versus like, you know, being on their home planet or whatever, that they'd sort of crashed there, that they were robots in disguise, like all the things that kind of, the sort of archetypes, if you like, of what made the 80s series what it was. He wanted to kind of get back to that. And I think, you know, I'm talking broad brushstrokes. Obviously, a lot of that detail was filled in by the teams underneath him. You know, he's the CEO, but he was very much the person that led that direction. The other big change, of course, was that they moved from Cincinnati to Rhode Island. Yeah. And with that meant that a lot of the team that had worked on Beast Wars and Beast Machines stayed behind in Cincinnati.
That was Kenner, wasn't it?
They didn't come. It was Kenner, yeah. So they didn't come along. And so you got new people coming in to work. The people that moved to Rhode Island were the ones that ultimately ended up being appointed. And that was where Aaron Archer came in. He'd already been in Cincinnati and he'd worked on the Beast era, but it was at this point that he was kind of appointed in charge of developing the design element of Transformers, if you like. And hence, you know, complete change at that point, which makes sense in context.
They get really lucky as well because they get time to breathe, because Takara have got Takara robots going at the same time. So they're actually lucky they're not under the same kind of pressure to get something out for that next year all of a sudden, because Takara have done it for them. So it actually gives them a little moment on Transtech to press pause and have a proper reassessment without breaking a sweat, really. They don't get that gap. It's just kind of crazy. And it is like, because they jumped to car robots, it really is like a break from when you look at Beast Wars and Beast Machines. That era of Transformers feels extremely American, whereas the preceding stuff had felt Japanese at the start. Once Transtech dies, it feels like it shifts back to being almost a Japanese brand imported again, even though it's all very Hasbro led, just because of the way they use the designs are. They're very anime coded and stuff. So again, the Takara vibe comes back in, and it's funny how it almost feels like the American era dies and then the Japanese era leaves, it's still Hasbro.
True. It is, but it was very much co-developed Armada with Takara, and that was a big change as well, because during the latter days of the Beast era especially, it had been exclusively Hasbro leading the charge on a lot of that, you know. So like Takara were not co-developing Transtech with Hasbro. It was a Hasbro-led project, and it was very much done exclusively in the Cincinnati office. You know, it was really kind of kept in those walls. They had a consultancy work on it as well, which we'll talk about. But as I say, not even Mainframe, as far as I know, were kind of involved in the development, and certainly not Takara. And Armada came in like a steam train, basically, of like a real back to basics. And as you say, it's fascinating that they had, you know, Takara's line that they had developed exclusively by themselves, sort of whilst all of this is going on, that they had that as an option to bring that in with car robots. You know, they brought in as RID, because
the best Transformers toy line.
I can't think of another time when that would sort of be possible in a way. You know, like Hasbro so last minute tanking its next lines. I mean, to the point where listings are starting to go out to retailers and things like this of what's coming up, and they had shown off toy designs and things to retailers, and they had started to kind of promote it a little bit. And, you know, it's really, I want to stress this, how unprecedented it is. I mean, even Aaron Archer makes this point when he talks about it, of that, you know, it's not unusual for them to have a lot of ideas and concept drawings and things that don't get used, and that very often in toy design, like constantly Takara and Hasbro will be drawing things and coming up with ideas, and it just doesn't go anywhere. But it is unusual for them to have a whole line, or certainly kind of part of a line, worked out for physical prototypes to have been made, for character names and things like that to have been decided, and drawings and everything, and for it to all just get tanked overnight. Like, that is really unusual. And the fact that none of it has been brought back since, or like the toy designs haven't been used and things like this, not directly anyway, is really, really unusual. And it's the fact that they had car robots to just kind of import wholesale is incredible, really, like that it was so seamless. But we've talked before, haven't we, how like car robots is essentially the end of the Beast era rather than like the beginning of the car era, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. But we've talked about the fact that then the engineering technology that was in Beast that went into car robots, and there was that kind of, it's like that great transition bit, isn't it, between the kind of the technology that you're using for Transformers and how that advanced through the Beast era, and what, it's ball joints basically, and but also the use of chrome
very much,
car robots, So it was that really interesting transition, and not at all, again, discovering those few of them just in Toys R Us, I think it was at the time. I was like, oh, this is what's familiar to me. So similar to what Liam's saying.
Well, I think what's weird is that, as I say, we often always think of car robots or robots in disguise as the jump, as the sort of reboot, if you like. But it's not. Armada is the reboot very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Car robots, or RID, is very much just what Takara were doing whilst Hasbro were developing Transtech. And so I think when you see a lot of what we're going to look at tonight, it's weird to think that this is what the Americans were working on at the same time that the Japanese were working on car robots.
That's cool, actually. That's really interesting.
Hasbro were using it, though, weren't they, as the reboot with RID? Because they were when it started to come out, or even just before, it was very much with all of the thunder claps of the old Transformer style. Is about cars are back, vehicles. They were very much banging that drum, really. They were just repeatedly trying to tell you the cars are come back, the vehicles were back to this kind
It really was that, yeah.
And that's what they were so lucky that Takara had developed that line, and then they were able to pad it out with
amazing
so many things, because that really, and we know we've done the RD episode. Go check that out if you haven't already. You should have. It's one of the best ones. But when we did that, you remember, that really was like the spark for Transformers, because Beast Wars was massive, but it felt like with Beast Machines, just kind of went quiet. Even though Beast Machines is a decent show, I'm sure some people like the toys. Yourself, probably.
I like some of the toys. Yeah, I like some of the toys. I will say that they're not the best Transformers toys, objectively, and it's
we know even Cheetos, your Beast, that Ultimate Cheetos is your favourite toy ever, isn't it?
No, it's Jason's. It's Jason's
mine,
actually.
Yeah,
he's the one that loves it.
Just like that era had gone really quiet. It felt like Transformers had suddenly gone quiet, and then RID lands at the boom with Dreamwave, all of that stuff. There's it just lands at the most perfect time. So when Golden decided to kill Transtech, it's as sad as it is we didn't get Transtech. He's playing possibly one of the greatest decisions in the history.
I completely agree.
Because it just lights the fuse, and maybe not in the way he intended it was going to be that successful, but RID comes out and that was massive. Kids were back into Transformers again, and then Armada came and was even bigger.
Well, Armada was the real big thing. Yeah, that was. I agree with all of that. I think you can see the difference in intent from that point. And of course, we're talking Armada coming in 2003, and it's only 4 years away from the movie. So it's incredible, really.
It's just really incredible.
If you think of where Beast Machines was at, and at the point that they're 2002 was really kind of when it all started. But the point that we're at in 99, 2000. And then, if we'd led on to Transtech in 2001, I just don't know that it would have turned around.
2007, would it have happened with the movie?
Maybe not, honestly, because Armada, and we've talked about this before, but it is worth reiterating that the whole point with Armada and a lot of the development that was done was to kind of get towards making a movie. The movie didn't just happen overnight. I know there's often this thing of the movie resurrected a dead brand or whatever. It's complete.
It was the CEO's plan.
Well, it was the plan. That was the thing.
They were gearing up born after the year 2007. It's the only thing I can assume.
It's true. But they were gearing up towards getting a movie made, and it was very purposeful. And Armada was so wildly successful that, it created that interest. And I just don't know with Transtech, because I love everything that we're going to look at. And some of it is weird. Some of it is really, really, really weird. But I think it's so cool. It's just... it's like a real Elseworlds thing. It's like it's a bit like, when they made the DC movies and they based it off like The Dark Knight Returns and things like this. And that should not be your main universe Batman. Do you know what I mean? That's an alternate universe Batman that works really well in the context of that story. But to make that your main universe thing, it does not work, in my opinion. And it's kind of the same with Transtech in that I think it's so wicked what they were developing and so unique, but it was just the wrong answer for like where Transformers needed to go to kind of get a fresh audience in, really.
Oh, 100%. And it's one of those where I think it's more interesting that it didn't happen than it would have been if it had.
Yes.
It's one of those where I think if it had come out, I think it would have had its fans, but I think it would have been one where it looks so Marmite. I think you would have got this kind of, it would have had a weird reputation, whereas the fact it doesn't exist, it's all like, oh, mysterious and exciting. And you see the designs and you're like, oh, I would love to handle something like that now.
Totally.
This is the kind of thing where I look at Missing Link and you go, dude, when you want to really swing for the fences, this is where you look, the stuff that never happened.
Yeah. I can't imagine Takara ever wanting to touch it, to be honest.
That would be a choice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's funny though, because I was just thinking about the name. You're like, even like Transtech, you're like, it's very of a time, but then it's like, even that's quite close to Transtector, in ways. It's kind of
true.
It's
true. Yeah, it's true. But I think it was just the wrong thing at the wrong time, really. And as cool as it is, I agree with you, Liam.
News by that point.
It really was. That was the thing. And I think, would it have reignited the passions would it have brought in a whole new generation of fans? I don't think so, is the reality. I think it did. Yeah, and there's an argument to say that by this point, you're appealing to existing fans that are kind of like following you on that journey, if you like, because it's still an evolutionary step in a journey that began in the kind of like 1996 time, with Beast Wars. You've really kind of got to have been on that journey to kind of get where it's going, if that makes sense. Whereas
totally.
I don't think it was bringing in new people at that point, sort of towards the end of Beast Machines anyway.
Most of the times I saw those toys were in places like Pound Stretcher on massive clearance.
Oh, wow.
The Beast Machine stuff. I never really saw it in the main toy shops. That it just didn't have much of a presence. I saw it infrequently in places like Toys R Us, but most of the times I saw it was just, it very rapidly appeared in discount places to, at lower prices.
I saw it was in like supermarkets. I got the two that I got were in Tesco's randomly, like a big, and it was you just didn't get Transformers. You do now, but you didn't get Transformers in like your supermarkets and stuff like that.
Jason, you did in the 80s. You had them in Asda. We didn't have an Asda near me. Yeah.
Don't forget, Liam, he's in a different country.
I was there.
He probably had Asda or something.
No, I was in England. Was I in England at that point? That's when I lived in Wiltshire.
Jason, don't try and remember where you were.
I was in Wiltshire. No, I was in Wiltshire because that's when Owen Jones.
Don't try and remember where you were. Honestly,
but that was 84 to 87.
You were there in 1984.
I was, so it was a very wrong era. I don't know. What year are we talking about?
Anyway, look. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the kind of like, we'll get into all the designs and everything. And obviously, I've pieced together a lot of the kind of pictures and things like this that do exist for Transtech. Now, for anybody listening, all of this stuff is publicly available. If you are a patron of ours, then your quid's in, because we're going to post all of this on our Discord. And you can sign up we haven't even mentioned our Patreon yet, but you can sign up at patreon.com/triple takeover. And this is a real perk, because even if you join for like the £1 tier, do you know what I mean? Like the real, you're not going to notice that money coming out your bank account every month kind of tier, you would get access to all of these pictures in one handy place on our very popping Discord. So I would say that's worth it, to be honest. And you'd also get early access to these kind of episodes as well, so on our Patreon. So that's rather nice.
It's very worth it, to say the least. Yes.
I would agree. And you get to hang out on Discord with Jason, which is always a pleasure.
Not just me, obviously. The other two are there as well.
Exclusively.
And Maz sometimes as well. And a load of other lovely people.
Yeah, exactly. There's a really nice community on there. We've got loads of great perks on the old Patreon, but that is certainly one of them. So let's get into it with some of the designs. Now, they have been shown off a couple of times, which is quite interesting. Now, when I was reading about this, it says that they, on like TF Wiki and that, they were first glimpsed at BotCon 2002. But I'm not so sure about that, because I actually found there's a blog online which shows some pictures of the Canadian National Comic Book Sci-Fi Anime Expo in 2001.
Whoa, that's quite a name.
Yeah, there you go.
That.
Yeah, I'm sure there's an acronym for it or something. But that was in 2001, and there were definitely glimpses there, because I've got a little picture here, which I'll share with you, look. And again, all of these are going to be on the Discord. But this is a picture of like a booth, and you can see, it's a very small picture, but you can see a lot of the concept artwork in the background. Like if you look at the top right, you can probably see sort of familiar red and blue.
Prime.
Yeah, you can see a prime there, can't you? That was in 2001, apparently. So already this stuff was starting to get out there. And I know that Hasbro had kind of gone to toy fairs to kind of sell some of this and everything as well. So the designs were being seen. Now, one thing that we haven't mentioned is that a lot of this that we're going to look at is the work of a company called Draxel Jump. Now, if you've not heard of them, they worked on Beast Machines also. Now, they're a Canadian kind of concept studio, if you like, founded by a guy called Ken Lashley, who's actually like a real big name in comics. I mean, he's done work on like loads of DC and Marvel properties and things like this, really like high profile guy. But he founded this design studio. They had worked on Beast Machines as well, and they were kind of responsible for a lot of the weird look that Beast Machines has got, like the character designs and things like this. So like when you look at Rat Trap with wheels or Black Arachnia and she's all kind of spindly and that kind of stuff, that is Draxel Jump, basically.
Right, cool. Nice.
Draxel Jump is a name I have not heard in a very long time.
Yeah.
Going on 20-something years now. So I haven't thought about Draxel Jump in a long time. And it's funny when as soon as you say it and you're like,
oh, yeah.
I remember that so much. And then you think of that name and you're like, God, that's such a 90s name as well.
It really is.
It is. I quite like
really
it.
is. Yeah.
It's come back round. I'd quite happily. Are they still around? Do we know this?
Don't believe so. Obviously, Ken Lashley is still, a big player in that. But he also did do some concept artwork and things elsewhere for Transformers. And they did do like a tiny bit on Transformers Armada, but just like not much. Do you know what I mean? Like some of the initial drawings and things. And then Armada really kind of went a different route, I think. But a lot of what we're going to see here is the work of Draxel Jump. And again, so strange because none of this was worked on by Takara. None of it was worked on by Mainframe, certainly. And where it had already gone from like Beast Machines was that what they'd started to do with Beast Machines was develop like a robot mode and an alternate mode completely separately. So like with no engineering knowledge of like how the two would meet, during Beast Machines, that was a very purposeful design process. Like they wanted to really weird modes and then find a way to get the designers to kind of mash it together, if you like, into
there's a name for
toy.
that, isn't it? The old the Floro Dairy method.
I think it probably is. Yeah, not the first time it's happened. Yeah, it really was. Just draw it and hope that it works. In practice.
Hope never really. I don't know. Yeah, it's like in that situation.
Yeah. So we're going to take a look through the toys and the designs and everything. Now, what I also have here, before we get, I'm teasing you a lot with these designs, Jace, but what I also have here is the listing. So this listing went out to Big Bad Toy Store. It was leaked back in like 2001 of what was, actually, I think this was in 2000, of what was coming up. And it was sort of like 6 months ahead, if you like. And it was basically saying that there was going to be 5 deluxe toys. So one was going to be Cheetor, who was a car, and this was supposedly going to be released in all of these in June 2001. There was going to be Shockwave, who was a car, Silverbolt, who was a jet, and then presumably this was going to be the Beast Machines Silverbolt character. Yeah. We don't know, but
they love that name, don't they? They really love Silverbolt as a name at this time.
In every iteration, really. It's just like a constant returner, isn't it? There was going to be a Starscream. So this was actually apparently quite a big deal. They were going to bring Starscream back. And again, he would have led the charge as a deluxe in 2001, June. And there are prototypes that exist of Cheetor and Starscream, both of which we'll look at tonight. Cool. And Aaron Archer speculates that the reason those are the two prototypes that were seen, one was that Cheetor was like the recognizable character from Beast Wars and Beast Machines. So it makes sense to kind of shop him. Like they would have made these prototypes very early to kind of to start talking to retailers and toy fair people and things like this. And so having like your recognizable character, it kind of makes sense. And he reckons that Starscream was probably made because it was like a big deal to bring him back, if you like. So it's like, oh, look at this, and he turned into a jet. They were apparently going to do a Rat Trap Don't know what it looked like.
Wow.
No knowledge on that. And there was going to be another one, which was unnamed at this point. There was then going to be a mega assortment, which was 2 figures, but we don't know the names or anything of those. And there was going to be 2 ultras as well, one of which would have been Optimus Prime. And supposedly there is or was a prototype of Optimus, but that has not been seen online. And there would have been a Megatron as well, also for June 2001. So really, really interesting. And there was apparently going to be a super class figure as well, but I don't have any information on that. So that was going to be the first wave of toys, and some of that you'll see in the concept art and things.
So wait, hang on. So 2001. So we are literally, when this podcast goes out, we're 25 years ago, pretty much to the month.
25. Yeah, 25 years.
That is
that's vintage.
Very old.
Yeah, 25 years.
We would be talking about a vintage toy line right now.
I know. Oh my goodness.
I do just want to point out something I didn't mention is I remember when these were first being shown off and stuff, and I was glad this toy line didn't go forward.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I remember seeing like the idea of it, and there was something about Shockwave in there as well. But
Shockwave's weird, yeah.
But I remember seeing the designs, and it wasn't this line itself. It was coming off the back of Beast Wars and Beast Machines. I wasn't a big Beast Wars fan. I wasn't a Beast Wars fan, and I didn't like. I enjoyed the cartoon of Beast Machines, but I didn't like the designs. At this point, I was really eager to see the old Transformers again.
Yeah, I get it.
More familiar to me as a teenager then. But then, and so when this died, it was like, because then it was car robots, and it was like, this is great, this is brilliant. And it's when I look back now as an adult, the vibe is completely different. And even,
of course,
it was only a few years later. It wasn't even a few years later. It was relatively quickly. I would look back at the things and go, it would still have been nice to have seen what these look like,
Yeah, I mean, the Starscream, which we'll look at, I think looks wicked, like absolutely wicked. And genuinely, I look at the toy and I'm like, oh man, I would love to see that made real. The Cheetor is a bit more out there, but even then, it's kind of cool. So I think we're going to start with Cheetor though, because it's the sort of like the brand character. Yeah, exactly. And it did sort of get made in a weird way into reality. So we'll talk a bit about that as well. But here you go. So this is some of the Draxel Jump art that was kind of produced at the time. This is the first one. You can sort of see here what Cheetor was going for. Now, I will say all of this is kind of real mood board stuff. Yeah, so this is not the finished design like at all. But they were just sort of like drawing things and putting them up on the wall, if you will. But you can see some of the head sculpts, and you can see the real motif is that kind of dragster alternate mode with the big wheels and everything, which also then feature in the robot mode.
Yeah, there's an animated blur style one in the center there.
Funny you should say that, Jace. Yeah, it's funny you should say that.
Really?
Well, I'll jump ahead. Yeah, but this actually was the inspiration for animated blur. Right. And that's why they did a Cheetor repaint of animated blur. It was kind of a nod to this.
That's cool.
That animated Cheetor that exists, which is a great toy. I have it. That is essentially Transtech Cheetor.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and it's funny because you see this. MMC did one, didn't they? When they did a Chrome Dome from all the Meat Side Chrome Dome, and they redecorated it into Cheetor. And the vehicle mode is very much like this. It's very similar, and it's got the long spindly proportions. But also that vehicle mode at the bottom is very reminiscent of which Unicron trilogy toy is it? Am I thinking of?
I know which one you mean. It's one of the smaller ones, isn't it? One of the tiny little guys.
It's a lot like the one that was Cup, but what was the big ginormous? I think it's
there was the green guy.
Yeah. When they land on the speed planet or something like that?
Yeah. I know who you mean. Yeah. God, it's going to kill me now that I can't remember his name. That's terrible, but I know exactly who you mean. Yeah, he's a bit like that.
He goes on to become a main character in the show.
Yeah, definitely. It is a lot like that, actually. Yeah. That's really interesting. I mean, it quickly evolves because there's more here. And we're not going to spend hours, kind of going through these because, of course, for people that can't see them and that, but let's take it on our Patreon. But here you go. You can see like some of the more kind of mood boardy stuff going on here. Some of it is so weird.
It is. It's that tech-organic thing, isn't it? That Geiger kind of influence almost.
Geiger, yeah.
Interesting to spot that in one of the bits of art here. There's an Autobot symbol on the shoulder.
Yeah, it's really unknown as to because obviously it was Optimus Prime kind of coming back in. And it's really unknown, even with Megatron, for example, whether that's original series Megatron, Beast Wars Megatron, who canonically had died at the end of Beast Machines, him and Primal. So I genuinely don't know if these are supposed to be the same iterations or not. Cheetor was still alive. Maybe that's a continuation, or maybe it would have just been a completely new continuity. And these would have been Autobots and Decepticons. There was a faction symbol doing the rounds as well, which you'll see a picture of in a minute, which was kind of for Transtech.
It's just fun to see it there for that time, because if you were around in that time, you remember how the Autobot logo felt old and vintage because you hadn't seen it for so long. You were desperate to see it at any time, but it hadn't been seen on anything new since the end of G2, or not even the end of G2, end of G1, sorry. Yeah, and then it suddenly is appearing here, and you're like, it's like when it appeared in Car Robots.
Oh yeah, it was big.
And you were just like, whoa, it's back.
It's back,
do you know what I love concept art. It's one of the reasons that I went down the art route and then ended up in animation. But people that can do really good concept art like this, I've got so much admiration and respect for this, because it's not easy, and to be able to just create something like that. But what I am loving from these is each of those profile shots that
they're cool, aren't they? Yeah,
amazing. That one on the second one you shared on the case study 24, the one in yellow at the bottom.
Yeah,
that is phenomenal. It's got like this really organic, then streamlined top and bottom neck to this really skinny head, but then with some kind of what looks like a helmet on front of it as well, purely for the aesthetic of it. And I'm just looking at that thinking, oh, that would be cool. What does that do? Does that flip around to be the back of it? Or, and you start to try and work out how this is transforming and what part that is. Is that a wheel? It's really interesting.
It is.
And so different. Like all of the different concepts that they've got within just this one sheet is amazing.
The one of it crouched down, the sort of red and orange one.
Yeah,
it's kind of terrifying, because at first I was looking at it going, is that a different vehicle mode? And it's like, oh no, it's him hunched over.
He's hunched. Yeah, it really is weird. I think, honestly, it breaks my heart a little bit looking at it, because it's so good and so cool. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. The idea that it is just never going to be made into anything real is sort of a bit weird. But it's the fact that none of it sort of is consistent with another thing either. So, like, wherever you look, it's like, oh my God, that looks wicked. And this also looks wicked, even though it's completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no consistency. I wouldn't look at this and go, oh, they're Transformers. I'd look at this and go, these are model kits that could exist within the kind of the kind of, well, it could exist in Warhammer as much with like the kind of Eldar stuff you get, as much as it could with Gundams. It's lots of different influences.
There's a lot of Evangelion.
Exactly.
The shapes.
Yeah. Yes.
Like the robot shapes, particularly the one in the top left where he's got the blades on his arms. You look at the way it's standing, you're like, oh, that's it. And the one on the other side of the left, so you look at it, they're such Evangelion shapes.
They are.
It's really, man, it is. It's like animated before animated. Because it's such a unique look in a break from everything that's been established before. Like Beast Machines was to a degree, but this is just animated just the same thing later in a completely different way. But
the vehicles particularly.
Subverting your idea of what the robot shapes and forms should be like. They're not square and blocky. They are like people.
Very, very much so. I love all of that exaggerated stuff, and it would have been a huge departure from Transformers. I think what's really strange to consider is that in some ways this exists in the sort of like evolution from G1, in that Beast Machines was essentially a sequel to G1, Beast Wars was. Beast Machines was a sequel to Beast Wars, and this presumably would have been a sequel again. So if anything, this is sort of like in the G1 universe, and it's Armada that makes that clean break. But this is so far removed from, I always say it, but like your Datsuns and things like this. It's just wild to me that this is where they got to.
What I find most interesting is actually the one with the Autobot logo on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Because if you look on his back, he's got like a normal truck.
Oh, yeah.
Like real
vehicle parts,
if you look on his arm, it's quite hilarious because we've got all these weird shapes for all these characters. And suddenly there's a door handle, just a door handle, like a regular door. But you look at all the other vehicles and they're also futuristic and strange and stuff. But then you look at him and you're like, the one they've drawn there, you're thinking, oh no, they're looking for a more real worldy kind of truck.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. And some of it is a lot more recognizably humanoid as well, with the faces and things like this. Like the one top right there, he's got more recognizable sort of tires in the feet, but the face is very humanoid and everything as well. So it's still strange, but you can kind of see that it's very anime. It's something that might exist in reality. Whereas the one top left with the sort of wheel legs, that is just like, what is happening there? You know, it's
Yeah,
so cool.
We're getting into the what are they called, the aliens that are in Babylon 5.
Oh God, I don't know.
I was going to say a lot of this has got that kind of weird. I don't know, Babylon 5.
No, I don't know Babylon 5.
Babylon
We're
5's
too
phenomenal.
cool for Babylon 5.
Babylon 5 is really good.
When we have this with Maz once, where Maz was talking about how much he likes Babylon 5, and we were like, no.
Very much so. Maz loves Babylon 5.
Too far, yeah.
Why did he have to leave? You know, that guy's great.
You and Maz go and do a Babylon 5 podcast, honestly, and we'll not listen.
Yeah.
Lots of
we'll
people
encourage
will.
you. Yeah, sure.
Dozens.
We'll talk about
Sure.
Garibaldi or whatever. That
The
guy is. Anything I
Vorlons.
know about.
It was the Vorlons
What?
I'm thinking of. They're the aliens.
Isn't that something you use to clean a toilet?
But the reason being that they're really smooth, and they're. It's difficult to tell whether they're organic or they're some kind of mechanical, but it's actually something inside a mechanical shell. That's what these kind of vibe with as well. I love robot designs that don't have your standard kind of humanoid frame, so two legs,
same.
2 arms. So having like a big empty spoked wheel, that top left one for me, that's just really great design and really exciting.
Yeah.
And it's what we got to a certain extent, as we've already touched on, within animated as well, which is why I love that line so much. And I do wonder, like, did this? So what you said already, this did influence that then, you know?
Well, it did, yeah. We'll talk about that at the end, and you kind of like the legacy of Transtech, if you will.
Right,
But
okay,
yeah, it did to some extent, partially anyway. I mean, here's a little look at the sort of more finalized Cheetor design. Over 2 images, and you can see here that they've really kind of narrowed in on what the character is basically going to look like.
See, this one, I've always really liked this one, because you look at the 2 at the top and you see that break again between the one on the left looks like very American kind of 70s sci-fi inspired. The one on the right is very Japanese anime.
It's true.
And then you get to this, the sort of finalized design, and it's a fantastic mix of the two. But that looks more like a sort of Transformer. It's that way that chest and the head sinks in. There's just something, that little element, you suddenly go, oh, that's a Transformer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, how it works. It's got Batmobile. That second image, there's Batmobile
definitely
vibes,
a bit
doesn't
Batmobile.
it?
Completely different vehicle again.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's kind of maybe lost a bit of its edginess, but that's most likely
because it just looks more like a race car, doesn't it?
Yeah, but they've just had to now kind of make it work. So like, all right, we had all these cool concepts, but now we're going to make it work as a Transformer. Which that whole, what you said at the beginning, Sixo, about the way they were doing this, which is like, do a really cool robot and a really cool alt mode, and then we'll mash them together later. Then that just talks compromise, and it's...
Yeah, I see your point. I mean, I think when you see some of the Beast Machines concept art as well, and then how it kind of evolved into toys, you see that as well, of how it's kind of shaped, sort of down the line almost. And absolutely you can see them narrowing in on something here. And taking what is quite obviously a whole smorgasbord of weird ideas from the concept art and translating it into, okay, now we've actually got to make this work.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, I still think it looks really cool though. This design is quite popular overall. I think a lot of people look at this Cheetor and they're like, ooh, that is pretty cool, quite unique.
Yeah, it's got the hollowed out feet for the wheels, and that's and the shoulders. It is proportionally, it's a really nice robot mode as well. That actually looks really good.
Would have been quite
I find it really fascinating that they refer to it as mech mode, the robot mode, it's mech mode.
It is mech mode, yeah, which is,
Because we are so used to the Transformers like trademarked terms, like convert and just there's like a lexicon for referring to all of these characters. There's a language, isn't it? It's built, they would say bot mode or robot mode. When you see mech mode, you're like, at this point, even that kind of defined language wasn't as defined,
No, it's true.
Yeah,
and the whole mech thing has caused a lot of controversy actually online recently, with like people arguing on social media about if Transformers is mecha or not and things like this. And it's like, these are just words. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter,
No.
It's such a silly thing to argue about, honestly. But
the robots in disguise, guys, come on.
Yeah, exactly. You can also see there the little logo that I was talking about, the faction symbol next to the Cheetor name at the top right, which is presumably going to be the sort of replacement Maximal logo or whatever. So, which is kind of
Looks like
cool.
a bearded man who's lost the top of his hair and he's wearing a mask.
Yeah, it does a little bit.
I
don't love
mask
it.
pulled over his eyes.
Yeah, I don't love it.
It's got that like side thing, like the hair where it's pulled on top.
It does.
And then you can spot the beard. It's like a guess who thing where someone's put the pieces on.
Yeah,
with felt.
Totally
A
see what you mean.
mustache.
Looks like
and
an old
a COVID
uncle.
mask over his eyes.
Oh God. Yeah, moving on from that, I think.
That's terrifying.
Do you want to see what the toy looks like?
Oh, of course, there's a prototype for this.
There's a prototype for this one. So,
oh, I hope it looks good.
Well, the car mode, I think, is exceptional. Now, these pictures were from a website called behindthetoys.com, which doesn't exist anymore. But I managed to find them. So you can see the dragster mode just there. And actually, they published these on the internet back in the day, long time ago, and did the full transformation sequence. So you can actually see how it unfurls and transforms. And for a deluxe, it looks quite involved, actually, I think.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, here's the next set of images as well. Now, for ages, these were the only two images that existed. As in, there was no shot of the robot mode. And this caused a lot of frustration. A lot of people online were like, where's the fucking robot mode? Do you know what I mean? But I do have a picture of the robot mode as well. You'll be pleased to know. So I'm not going to leave you hanging. But yeah, you can kind of see there. What do you think so far?
It's actually way better as a toy than I was expecting. That, you know, the transformation there. And that's, yes, it's not overly complex, but the way that it is... that mass shifting that's going on there and the final profile of that robot on the face of it looks really good, actually. You know, it looks nice.
Bearing in mind, it's only a little deluxe. It's not, you know,
like not massive. Yeah,
we're used to Cheetor being like a significantly bigger toy by this point, but this was
and
not.
You think about Beast Wars as well. Like, there's a lot of real interesting technical accomplishments in Beast Wars, but then there are a lot of toys where it's just the animal shell, you know, hanging off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
The point in the cartoon is like the shell folds over and that protects them from the stuff. So it is pieces, so it gets away with it. But here, there's no pieces hanging off.
It's a proper transformer in a way. Like
The car mode looks amazing, man. The car mode looks so good.
Here's the robot mode, which I will say looks a little bit odd in the picture.
Look at the... Oh, they should never put it next to the art.
That's the thing. It's next to the art, it's kind of like...
Yeah, so this is where the proportions have gone off, haven't they? It's like, look at the
head.
The head, for one. The length of the legs.
This is the Temu version of that.
Yeah, it's like, I know. There's screaming heads in his thighs as well, which is disturbing.
It's blurry, but it looks like there's a face of a cat in his middle torso.
Yeah.
Ooh, I kind of see what you mean. Yeah,
you see it once you see it. It looks like a tabby cat face. It seems to be
totally
like a kind of, you know, like an emperor's hologram or something.
You are right though. It's the sort of the less elongated legs and the larger head. In
it just doesn't have the girth anymore.
It doesn't have the source.
Where are the wheels?
Yeah, it's the
wheel legs. But you know what it looks like? It looks like a titanium toy.
It does actually. That's very true. That is very, very true.
And it's that same kind of, not in a mean way, but that kind of compromise to it, and that a lot of the titanium toys have. You instantly look at me, you can see awkward shapes just because that's what they like. It's that vibe, and it's funny because titanium comes along not much longer after this. It's not that far away.
That is interesting.
It's a shame. Because it looks on that transformation, particularly where like stage 18, it looks like it has the kind of the right proportions and the length of the legs and everything. That image of the robot looks like it's missing the wheels and its kind of
feet,
what would be its feet. It's just a bit odd.
I think they're behind. So you can sort of see in some of the transformation pictures that the wheels are essentially behind those bits on the front of the legs, like the shins almost, and that they're sort of tucked behind there. So I think it's probably one of those that would look better in profile than it does, in hand in profile, like as a 3D thing. I think this is a very awkward image. The way it's been posed and everything else, you lose the flavor of it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about how you make it stand, because it looks like it would just want to.
Yeah, I don't know.
Topple on those
because it is on wheels,
skatey wheels. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you go back to the concept art though, there is in that second last picture of the finalized concept art, there is a little bubble pointing to the foot with like a flip out bit to give it a flat edge. And that's what you can see in that robot picture there as well.
Yeah. If you look at some of the transformation pictures as well, you can see the wheels are behind the shins, and you just can't see them because you can see the shadows of the wheels at the bottom.
Exactly,
big circles, so you can actually see the wheels are there. They're just so thin they disappear completely behind the shins.
Yeah,
it's just, man, like you look at that concept art, the expectation versus reality thing, isn't it? That's what
It is that.
But
Yeah.
it is that kind of like, sometimes you look at designers and you like go wild, but then you're like, we physically can't make that.
Yeah. That's the issue, isn't it?
It is a little bit. I do think had this been maybe a mega toy or a larger toy, they may have pulled it off a bit better. I mean, for what it's worth, I think the dragster mode is fantastic. Like,
oh God,
really cool. And
it's really cool.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And I do think that the robot mode would have been probably better than what we're seeing from this picture, you know. But all painted up and everything as well. But,
it would have been refined as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like even the blades on the back of his arm in the artwork, and then you look there and the way they are, they're not blades on the robot as much. They're just pieces tiny, folded out of the way, aren't they? You know, it's a different vibe. Like there, you look at the art and you're like, man, they're like part of this kind of mad techno-organic frame, and you could use them as swords. There, you're just like, nah, they're just kibble on the toy. Just kibble. That's it.
Definitely. Let's move on. Let's look at Starscream, because there are some prototype pictures of this one as well. And I think, like me, you'll get to the end of this and be like, oh, this is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, so, Starscream's great.
It's really, really good. This is the kind of initial concept stuff for Starscream, which is a bit indiscernible, I think.
Yeah, what is going
Yeah.
Right, this absolutely is Evangelion.
I was going to say, it's not hiding it at all.
No, not at all, no.
That side profile of the robot, you look at the face and you go,
love it.
That's an Evangelion. That is
very much.
I would not think it's Transformers at all, seeing this page.
It's obvious, isn't it?
I think I picked up the wrong comic.
Yeah, it's just to show you, really. We'll move on, because actually the next one is the sort of more finalized character model. There's not a lot of not that I've seen a lot of the kind of early concept art of this one, but this is the more finalized character model that they went with. And I think this is really cool. And it's a lot more, still quite out there, but a lot more recognizably Starscream in a way. Like you could sort of see that they were bringing in this idea of classic Transformers to some degree.
Look how long his legs are.
Yeah.
That's serious.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's like, you look at this now and you see so much of the design in like the early movie designs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of these elements, not specifically in Starscream.
No.
Starscream? Not specifically in Starscream.
Yeah.
It's right, hyphen.
Yeah, but you look at that robot and you can totally see movie stuff there, like the face and the shapes. And yeah, it's an interesting design. But again, it's very much late 90s, mid to late 90s American comics. It's cool. I don't think this would have relaunched the brand in the way that Armada Starscream did. Do you know what I mean? No.
Yeah, totally.
If they put this out and called it like something like Zerg, just got that kind
of...
Toy Story. But it's got that kind of thing. Like, it just looks like some kind of cool alien robot thing.
Yeah, big alien jet.
You know what? I've been looking at the Starscream top right, the way they've drawn that and everything, and I was like, what does that remind me of? And do you remember that? You wouldn't steal a loaf of bread. You wouldn't, it's the piracy thing that was at the beginning of DVDs.
You wouldn't steal a car.
I said loaf of bread. I couldn't remember what it was.
You wouldn't steal a toy design.
Yeah.
Was it FACT, Federation Against Copyright?
I think it was that. Yeah.
Bring back VHS.
Yeah.
The irony of that was that the only people that got that actual advert was on the legitimate copies of those. Only pirated ones, they just remove it.
Exactly. People that have already paid for it. Exactly. Well, look, this next picture will kind of clue you in. Here's the toy and everything. So we're moving straight onto the kind of prototype of it. And I think this looks wicked. I do have more high-def pictures of the toy, so we'll look at those as well. But this just kind of gives you a little overview. In fact, I'll just dump the high-def pictures in for you as well, so you can really kind of get a flavour of what this thing looks like.
Oh, there's a lot to unpack here suddenly, isn't there? Because they've gone like clear plastic.
Right.
It's got a bit of Cyclonus from Universe line or Henke, in that it's purely just on the kind of shape of it. So, wow.
It's cool, isn't it? So there's a couple of things here. I meant to say, Liam, your point about the movie designs, I think, is spot on. Like, I look at a lot of this, and some of the concept art that is coming up, especially, I think, is straight up 2007 movie. And actually, when you
must have looked at it, eh?
I think it does influence some stuff, as we'll talk about in a bit. But I mean, the concept artwork that was done for the 2007 movie was not done by Draxel Jump, from what I gather. But I've seen a lot of the concept art and looked at it for the movie, and it's got a very similar flavour to some of what we're going to see here, I think. The other thing here is you mentioned about the clear plastic, Jace. That is a good time to mention that this was going to be a line-wide gimmick. So the whole conceit of Transtech was that, and it's unusual actually to have a line-wide gimmick at this point because it hadn't been done that in a while. Like that was more of a, I would say not really in Beast Wars or Beast Machines at all. Like they hadn't had a line-wide gimmick like that. Maybe with stuff like transmetals and things, I guess you could argue. But so the gimmick here was that everything was going to have electronics and it would have a kind of central light or something that would kind of shine through the clear plastic.
That's cool.
To kind of light it up, as it were. And I've read suggestions that the fiction was going to sort of pad it out as a kind of like energon energy thing or something like that. We don't really know is the answer, but it was all like light piping and electronics and stuff.
That's in a world before LED technology. That would have been. The logistics of this line is just getting more and more complex.
Weird, isn't it?
Totally, yeah.
We had light up toys, but not on this kind of scale. And
not at all.
Wow,
no.
you look at the price. Not $7.49 for a look that lights up. That would have been probably the size of a Voyager. It's interesting that the final design, and then you look at next to it, it's not the final design because it changes.
It does change.
The robot and the jet change into what the toy becomes. But you see in the art, and it's like, I remember when I first saw this and being disappointed that this one was cancelled, because this one, I really like the first design. It's cool, but I love the second design.
Yeah.
The tweaks they've made to get rid of the bits sticking off the arms and the shape.
The kibble and that, yeah.
But you can really see the lineage from Beast Machines here, like in Beast Wars.
Absolutely.
It's really, I know we all regard RID car robots as the end point. It's funny because you look at this and you go, this feels like it was going to be the natural end point,
Yeah.
But like the jet, it's just cool. Like it's very Cyclonus-y, but it's fun because you look at the back with the fins, and that comes back later. I don't think it's a deliberate homage, but with Fall of Cybertron Blastoff.
Yeah.
He's got this kind of
semi-organic
looking short mode, but he's got this ginormous back end that's a
right.
lot like this. But can you imagine if this had come out though with the clear plastic? Like this would be one of the most expensive toys you could buy because there'd be hardly any left.
This is it. And what state would it be in by now? If this was released in 2001, can you imagine now?
Part of a torso, head, and some arms.
Yeah, it'd be just like there'd be people doing videos of it shattering.
Yeah, This is the thing.
Oh, this is the line that should have been called Shattered Glass.
God,
that's the reboot. There you go.
It's wild to think, isn't it, that this now would have been a 25-year-old toy.
Yeah,
vintage, man.
Absolutely
wild, isn't it? I love that jet mode.
I love it.
Where's that prototype though?
Absolutely love that prototype. I really love the head sculpt.
Yes,
that is stunning. That is like
so different.
Yeah, it's a really. I don't know. It's bringing Starscream back.
Very American comics, like Death's Head.
It does actually. It does have a Death's Head feel to it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Super weird. Again, I don't think it's too far off the sort of 2007 movie and everything. But then you can also see that there's some real classic vibes in there. Like the jet for me looks like the Predator Skyquake. For example, and that's very G1 in my mind. And it's like a whole raft of influences. This feels like a Transformer to me. I feel like in a way, had this come out, as much as it maybe wouldn't have been, bringing in that new generation of fans, I think that it would have appealed to more old school fans that were disappointed by Beast Machines. I think it had the potential to kind of bridge that gap, if you like, and for Transformers fans to be like, oh, this is something a little bit more recognizable.
Yeah. So bang on with that, because I was going to say that's how I felt when I first saw this. When Transtech was promoted, I was relieved when it was gone and replaced by car robots. But when I saw this, my thoughts were, oh, thank God we're moving to something a bit more recognizable after Beast Wars and Beast Machines. For me personally, this was that kind of like, I felt like it was pulling me back towards this sort of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think probably the change with the reboot with Armada. Yeah. And I'm going to call it a reboot because in my mind, that's very much what it was, like a real change in direction, a real whatever. I think that was that was essentially speeding up what was happening here. In that they were sort of slowly creaking back towards the sort of classic idea of Transformers, but let's nudge the door in with vehicle modes. Let's kind of bring back some familiar characters. Like it was very slowly, but kind of going in that direction. Whereas with Goldner coming back and then Armada, it was like, no, it, just old style again. Do you know what I mean? Vintage Transformers, this is get back to basics. And it was like it just accelerated. It happened overnight, what was probably going to take the next 5 to 10 years,
Yeah. They just absolutely, I don't know, I don't say they did get lucky, but there was so much luck involved in this one decision happening in the way it's going. But Jason, like you were saying about the clear plastic and the lights not working, I was thinking of the laser cycles, and how they've got, that's the last one I remember before that had lights.
Yeah, it's true actually.
But how crap that light is really, and then you translate that to this toy, and you're like, oh my god, this would have looked so rubbish. How would those legs have even lit up?
It wouldn't. It would be so piddly.
It would be a bit
you're right. That's 100% right.
Remember those bulbs? Those bulbs they had then were still like your little tungsten style bulbs that were just had no power in them at all.
But you look at the laser cycles, man. Like say you light them up, and you're like, is this it?
Yeah.
That's what you've got?
I
is it
must
working?
admit, yeah, laser Optimus Prime, for as magnificent as I think that toy is, when you activate the light up feature, it's a bit like
hands over it and go.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to be like, this is like, I can see it. I can definitely see it.
I've got visions now of these things being reviewed back in like 2001 and like imagine when YouTube reviewers started and things like that. It would have been like people going, yeah, the light is on, I promise.
Turn everything off.
Yeah.
You know what, though, looking at this Starscream again, and like, I know we joked earlier about Missing Link, but if you were to ask me now of a top 5 missing links, I think this would be in the 5.
Oh, yeah, I would love to see this revisited. More than the Cheetor, definitely.
We've never had the opportunity, like we were saying about with Missing Link, it's given us the opportunity, afforded us the opportunity to experience toys we never did. And this is like to experience a line that never existed, That's such
it would be fascinating,
unique and interesting prospect. But I don't think this is the sort of thing you look at and you go, Takara wouldn't touch this.
No.
But even if they were so inclined, I think they'd look at it and go, oh God, no, that just would not work. There's no way we could get that to work.
But I do wonder, would it become like a HasLab? The type of thing that, like...
I don't know that there's the appetite, honestly.
Yeah, because it's so niche.
Such a niche, like...
Yeah.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because when you think about HasLab and why it's there... But then I suppose it's that they want to sell those toys, don't they?
HasLab is such a strange one because honestly, not to get into HasLab now, but we've talked about it a lot before, but it is a strange one because in theory, it should be for the niche. It should be like the stuff that fans really want and like these odd projects. In reality, they still need to sell the things. They're not going to put a load of R&D in and like have it tanked.
It's still pretty mass market when you boil it down.
It is. Yeah, realistically, it's just in smaller quantities. That's all.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be very sad someday when this appears in Generations, because I think they will eventually touch one of these, but it will be a completely different toy, like thing. And I just think it'll be kind of like, because it'll be fun to see it and that, but you look at this and it's just crazy that you look at it and you see that movie influence, but you also see, like, the more I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, like when we got Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron, Starscream that would appear, the body shape is so similar.
There is definitely some correlation there. Absolutely, I got to totally agree. I just checked up another couple of pictures, concept-y stuff and that there, just bits that I had, which is kind of interesting to see. But by and large, that is Starscream, and I think just a very cool toy design. This is definitely the one for me that I look at and I'm like,
this one's very desirable. With LED technology in it would be better.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So for the rest, we'll look at Optimus and Megatron. For the rest, it should be known that apparently an Optimus prototype exists, as I say, but it's never been seen. And so all of this is just concept art from this point. And quite wild as well. So I'll chuck in the Optimus and you can see where they were kind of going with it.
Yeah.
Now, this is very familiar. This gets seen a lot online. You can recognize the color scheme, trap mode, but it's also got quite a beast influence as well, because the idea apparently was to sort of incorporate these animalistic elements into the vehicle modes. And so you can see it's sort of got a face almost in the truck mode, but the idea is to kind of keep the long gorilla arms and things like that from Optimus Primal as well. So all of that influence is kind of being worked in.
There's a lot going on. This is a Fall of Cybertron Prime.
I'm so glad that you said that, Jace, because actually I found this earlier and I was already thinking it, but look at this comparison, honestly. And you can just see that sort of evolution to War for Cybertron and all of that,
It's just very similar. And it's like when you look at the Fall of Cybertron vehicle, it's squarer, but it's a bit more like this as well. But this is very much like the Dreamwave one as well would become.
Yes,
They all,
totally.
when they're Cybertronian ones, they go for this sort of shape. The robot mode, it really reminds me of a Beast Wars toy, and I can't remember which one it was. It's one of the
like a primal.
primals. Yeah, but it's a red one, isn't there?
There's the Air Attack Optimus Primal that was redecoed in like a red color scheme, like Optimus Prime.
I think it's cool. Like you look at some of the head sculpts here, and there's the one that with the multiple spikes. It almost looks like Native American headdress.
Yeah,
it does.
I see what you're saying.
And
it's like, but you look at every expression here as well. There's none of the Prime charm. They all look angry. Again,
it does look very angry
all the time, isn't it?
Yeah,
serious business.
Serious business. Quite Bayformers-y as well. Can I say like those head designs, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's mad. Like, because again, like, not to keep harping on about it, but you go back to the time. I remember the first time I saw this, and for many of us, this was the first time seeing a new Optimus Prime.
Optimus, yeah.
Because obviously in Beast Wars you hadn't. It's Optimus Primal. You'd seen G1 Prime, but
Truck not monkey.
Exactly. This was the first time, and you're like, oh, we're so close, and then then
this is truck and monkey.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
Is like
Trunky,
but
trunky.
It's weird to look at it now and think in that moment, like you were there going, God, I would love to see a new Optimus Prime. Now you can't move for Optimus
so
Prime
true.
It's flipped. Like the difference over 25 years is
so weird.
I don't know. I realize this is is this very early stage concept? We don't know, I guess.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I've got the final design as well here.
You can tell this is Draxel Jump as well.
Oh yeah.
It's just there's a lot of faith in those elbows. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're so right. Honestly, imagine that in plastic. Just as a hinge.
Don't touch it.
He would not be giving anybody the elbow.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, it's true,
Absolutely.
man.
It looks like they're hanging on by a thread, doesn't it?
Really
It really does.
Like somehow he's carrying two giant sacks of potatoes.
Yeah. You have to assume that, like the Cheethor, the exaggerated proportions would have been dialed back a touch, right,
Yes,
in translation to plastic.
Got very Captain America shields at the back as well.
Yeah, this is the final design.
It is fun to note how that daily Optimus Prime thing, the Transtech one, the vehicle mode looks so much like the Last Night version of Optimus Prime would eventually look.
It really does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Colours, the
colours
kind
and
of
everything.
vicious looking grill thing.
In that, you can really see the face.
The gorilla face. Almost.
Yeah, the grill face now there as well. That's quite cool.
Grill. It's in the grill
face.
The gorilla.
It's so Dreamwave War Within, like that.
It really
vehicle
is.
mode. I wonder if that's where Don took some inspiration from when he was doing the War Within Prime vehicle mode, which is one of my all-time favourite Optimus vehicle modes. And I wonder if that's cool, because Dreamwave was the best, as we all know. And I just wonder if this is where he was looking at this, maybe so.
I think in answer to your Captain America shields, I think they're like rotors, like spinning rotors on the back of his.
Oh, okay.
I think
rotors. It's just that little Combaticon.
Exactly. So I said it a bit weird there, but yeah, like rotors.
Helicopter. We're all saying things weird tonight.
Like, yeah, it's true.
In this text, it says the generators are transparent material, i.e., iMac technology. That sounds like something that could be a copyright issue.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of that here.
It's interesting you flagged the Captain America thing, though, because there was a period of time when they were specifically trying to code Optimus as Captain America. There was this push to have him as like the kind of Transformers Captain America, just this red, white, and blue sort of thing. So it's interesting to see that kind of stuff, even maybe not totally intentional, but it's starting to be coded.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Optimus for you. I mean, a lot of these designs, this one especially, did come back in FunPub. Did some comics and things later on, and actually, you can see them in like a lot of the images that are often circulated for Transtech come from the FunPub comics, for example. We've used them on our artwork for this episode just because they tend to be the sort of more finalized. I think Alex Milne drew them and things like this, but so they did kind of make a comeback in sort of fictional form there, at least. But these original designs, apparently there was a prototype of this doing the rounds, but unfortunately never seen. It would have been interesting to see how.
I guarantee its forearms are on the floor now.
Yeah, so true.
It's funny, you think about the Armada prototype that Takara did a few years ago that we never got, and to this day I still look at it and go, man, I like the legacy one, but
What
that is a different.
Yeah.
It's like, well, Hasbro like that wasn't feasible. It's like, but you were thinking of making this.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's interesting.
I can't stop laughing at the symbol again. The sort of
The
middle-aged
prime.
former rocker sigil in the top corner.
Yeah, it's
Just
true.
what's
It's
got
true.
the
Yeah.
Guess who face.
Yeah, it's weird. Have a look at
Who
Megatron.
designed that? Like, and didn't think, oh man, it looks like a dude with a beard. And
It just looks a bit balls. Yeah, it's not good,
Yeah.
is it? So have a look at Megatron. So we've got some of the earliest concept art here for Megatron.
forget the old, oh my gosh, let's have a balding 45-year-old man.
Exactly.
That's who our collectors are now. That's who it is. That's our audience. Totally.
So
Right. 100% Bayformers world.
Well, I was gonna
territory
say,
now, isn't it?
this is so wild to me because I look at this concept art especially, and I'm just like, that could just be concept art for Bayformers Megatron, right? Like, there's,
Or Jetfire.
or
It's-
Jetfire, yeah.
The shape.
absolutely, yes.
Like, if you just showed a silhouette of someone and said which movie character you'd just say Jetfire. Like, straight away, you're like, oh, that's Jetfire.
This must have been passed over the desks of the team for the Bayformers.
I honestly do not
Must have
know.
been.
That's not ever been publicly acknowledged or confirmed or anything, but that is unmistakably Bayformers to me. Like that first image, honestly, it's just wild.
They had a Bible of just
They did.
all sorts
That's
of
true.
everything from every
Yeah.
era.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine these weren't in there somewhere because they would have been looking at every era because the shapes, man, it's so
So
Yeah,
spot
and for a
on.
line that was going out to toy fairs, this would have been.
This was seen.
There's a lot of material, right?
Yeah.
You know that they've done here as well.
Yeah,
It's-
we'll talk a bit about that as well because that's quite interesting. But here's some of the other concept art for Megatron that was done, which is
oh my god!
just
before
wild.
we move on, look at the faces. Which comic book character that we've been talking about recently do they look like?
well, like the Fallen.
No, it's Tarn, isn't it?
Oh, it is very like
it is
Tarn.
Tarn.
Yeah.
You look at the two in the middle in particular.
I see what you're saying. Actually, yeah.
They've almost got that Decepticon symbol in
Yeah.
the face.
It's
thing there.
like if they did a Bayformers Tarn, that's what it would look like, right?
Yeah.
Like,
1000%.
yeah,
It's quite skull-like, that third one down from the top.
Yeah.
It's like, which I again, techno-organic part of this, right? Which is really interesting. The profile, as I said before, the profile drawings in this are phenomenal. They're so
really.
nice.
It's just
Love
the
them.
artwork is next level. Honestly,
beautiful.
Really,
Yeah.
really cool.
So there's one at the bottom there. Can you see this Decepticon with the big giant almost fusion cannon? That is absolutely not that Megatron we were looking at.
No,
Is that-
it's
'cause
evolved
he's got
quite a bit.
jet
here.
wings, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is like general concept art. I think some of this is supposed to be Megatron, but honestly, just a whole mishmash, a little bit Guyver and everything as well.
Oh, God, yeah.
What it does sort of evolve into is a much more recognizable form for Megatron as well. We've got another little bit here. You can start to see where this is going before we look at the finalized design.
See, even that robot is like that toy. The toy they did for which film? The Bumblebee film. They did a Megatron, but they named it Blitzwing. There was a toy.
Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
yeah.
Little guy. It looks like that. Or that in the Generations line, the Reveal the Shield, there's that little blue tank robot. I think they said it was inspired by Rook from the G2 comics.
Okay.
I can't remember what his name was, the toy, but this really looks like that Blitzwing. That was actually Megatron.
I definitely think this has been used as influence elsewhere.
Yeah.
You can totally sort of see it.
Yeah.
Then we're on to the sort of finalized Megatron design, and it's quite out there, but I really like it. I got to say, I think what's weird is that actually it's not too much of a leap from this to Armada Megatron.
No,
No, at
No,
all.
no. I
No.
was going to say that. It's like the colours scream that. So that's one thing. But it's the way the cannon is slung behind in
So
a different
much.
way. And it's like, oh, that could tilt under. It's
The tank
Yeah.
treads, I know that obviously he's got like tank tread pylons in Armada, but you could see how the concept art would maybe evolve from here, right? To kind of to get towards that. So
all
I
the
totally think
shapes
so.
are in the same places.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
It's true.
Now-
The colors, yeah.
Aaron Archer, it's probably a good time to mention it, but Aaron Archer has sort of, I wouldn't say he's softened his stance on this a little bit, but I've read various things and heard different things from him over the years about how much influence went from Transtech into Armada. Initially, like way back in the day, he was quite emphatic about the fact that none. He was like, it did not influence Armada designs. It was completely separate. on his podcast now, sort of the one they did an episode on it a couple of years back, and on there he's a bit more kind of like, well, maybe behind the scenes, there was a lot of people working on it, so he's a bit looser about the idea that actually maybe the influence would have been worked in. And he makes the very, I think, sort of obvious point that a lot of the people that were around when these concepts were done were then also working on Armada later on, and actually...
so it's going to overlap.
Yeah, even if it's not directly that someone's like, hey, let's take that Transtech Megatron design and turn it into Armada Megatron. I'm sure it didn't happen in that way, but I kind of feel like all of this stuff is mood boarded, isn't it? And kind of, worked on. And I cannot imagine a world where this design didn't somehow lead to what we eventually get,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
I would agree, actually. It's just too... okay, it's easy for us to see it now looking back, but the correlation between the lines that came later and what we're seeing here, as an artist, you're inevitably going to pick up on what's around you and kind of absorb that as well. So, yeah, not necessarily direct, but influenced, should we say?
Yeah, I think so.
Fair.
I mean, if you look at the pictures here from the Fun Pub comics that we talked about, which, as I say, I think were drawn by Alex Milne, you get a bit of a better idea of how that design was interpreted, that Megatron design. And again, it's an evolution from the concept art, but it's kind of making it into a more recognizably Transformers form, still with the sort of like no feet and things like this, but it's a lot more like, yeah, okay, I can kind of see how that would work.
Yeah,
actually.
Exactly. Yeah, it's nice.
It's really cool, I think.
Yeah, it is cool.
Very different, but a bit more Megatron, really.
Yeah.
But exactly what you said at the beginning, Liam, about kind of image, and that's even the way that they've rendered that with like the pens and that kind of stark highlight and stuff like that, the way that they were doing this kind of style of artwork at this time. It's very, very of its time.
Yeah, definitely. Now, just quickly before we move on, what I do want to just share are these, which are just real curios, because these often get shared on the internet as like, these are what the toys were going to look like.
I remember.
These are not at all what the toys were going to look like.
What?
Okay.
Is this AI before AI existed?
Yeah, so what they did was that obviously when they started talking, this is what I said, they were going out to toy fairs and stuff. And what they did to kind of show people was that they needed like a mood board thing to kind of go, well, this is kind of what we're working on. And so they basically just slapped these together as like really loose ideas. I think, they've basically taken these from like other series and things, like.
Well, that second one, I've got that Gundam. I've got.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I have that. And
this is it. And Aaron Archer is quoted as saying, it's not the kind of thing they would ever do now because people are more litigious and things like this. But basically they were slapping designs from other series onto kind of mood boards and going, oh yeah, it'll look a bit like this.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
They put the gun on backwards, the right?
Yeah,
so they make it like it's different.
This is it, and I suppose I'm only sharing it here to sort of talk about because this is not at all a Transtech design. Neither of these are for Megatron
totally.
or Optimus. But what you do unfortunately see sometimes is people sharing them on the internet, going, God, Transtech Megatron is weird. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, no.
It's like, no, that's not what it was.
That's not what it would have been at all, So
do you know, this is brilliant because that APC style vehicle, that is the Aliens APC kind of lower part wheels combined with a bunch of other toys, basically.
Yeah, so the shape of it, it's inspired by that. I'm wondering what it is. Is it a Warhammer thing or something?
I think it's a bit of a mashup, to be honest, Liam, because I had that APC Airfix toy, and you can see the frame of it there, even to the point where the gun at the back is on a runner that goes around the back of it, and then they've just added on this front scoop and then a side bit as well as the basis. But it's like the when the kit bash stuff together, which they still do now, with the kit bash stuff to kind of work out ideas, but they've. That is just, that Megatron one is just next level in the way that it's not making sense.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
We've got some more as well. So if you want to see, I mean, here's Shockwave, for example, what he was going to kind of look like a sort of dragstery thing again, like a sort of six-wheeled dragster thing.
Bottom right vehicle, I immediately want that now.
Yeah, it's
someone
cool.
Please make that. That is so nice.
That's like that. Batman the animated series, Batmobile vibes to me.
Yeah, it's cool. Oh, I love it. It's really nice.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Really,
pretty cool.
High velocity assassin.
Yeah. Why not?
Aggressive low rider. That's what they call me. No, they don't.
I like this symbol, the Decepticon badge that you. Yeah, Jason. I thought they called you hench.
Oh yeah, dude. That's what I meant. Yeah, hench mode.
But you look at that Decepticon symbol at the top, because it's kind of fun. It's just, again, it's so 90s, isn't it?
So
Like
90s.
It's like a wasp.
Bit insectoid, yeah.
Daddy.
The Decepticon logo has such a timeless quality to it. You look at this and you go, that would have aged really fast.
Yeah. It's better than the bold bearded man for the Autobots.
It is, yeah.
The Guess Who card.
Yeah,
totally.
It's just like angry middle-aged dads versus bugs, isn't it? That's what's just going on.
Yeah, that's all I do now.
Really
I just chase flies around my house.
Yeah, exactly.
It's accurate.
It's like a hot summer's day and there's a fly in the room.
What I do like about that Decepticon, like the asymmetry of the V-fin, where you look at the
Oh yeah,
little bits
that's
that normally
cool.
go all the way across. They don't, and I quite like that.
That's nice design. Yeah, that is nice.
Looks like the Utah Jazz badge, which is a basketball team.
Sports reference.
Yes.
So yeah, there you go. That's Shockwave. I don't really know what else to say about it other than
He looks very happy.
yeah. I've no idea how that would have turned into that car, but apparently
They didn't know either.
Not, no.
I mean, I think it would have done, Jason.
Look
I'm
at
sure.
the side view. See that side view of the head? That's amazing.
You just got to have complete faith. I do actually have some earlier art for Shockwave as well, which is worth seeing because it's really cool. Not all of this is Shockwave, by the way. The tank guy there is like a different guy that we'll talk about in a minute. But you can see the purple car thing going on there. That is also supposed to be Shockwave.
The highly rendered colouring pen kind of look.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah,
It's very of its
definitely.
era.
I love all the mechanical detail in the car mode there,
Yeah,
like just
it
around the
is.
seat or whatever it is would have been. I don't know.
God, it's the thing that always makes me laugh about this image is that when you go through all the rest of it, you're like, Transtech is so weird and out there. And then you get this big giant tank guy and you're like, that looks like a Transformer. That looks the sort of green, greyish tank guy. Like, that guy is so normal looking compared to him. You're like, no, that if they did that now as a Transformer, I'd go, oh yeah, it's some kind of weird bulkhead tank.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it totally is,
definitely.
isn't it? Yeah.
We'll talk about the tank guy in a second because he was to be another guy. But there's some more Shockwave stuff here as well, doing this one a little bit differently, just sort of showing you the sort of concept stuff afterwards. But just so cool, just to see, really, just fun.
Again, yes, yeah, very reminiscent of the style they went in for animated. The Hollow Wheels were Tron bikes, isn't it? Did
Tron bikes.
Did we have a Tron reboot at this point as well?
No, that came later.
It was a bit later, wasn't it? Yeah,
that's
so
2000s, isn't it?
Yeah, much later. But yeah, I'm sure it was an influence, you know. The other guy was to be called Immorticon. And this guy's quite cool. Very silly name.
A 90s name, if ever.
Very 90s name.
Could have only been worse if it was like Grim Darkabot.
Grimdark. Or just Grimdark, honestly.
I'm loving Immorticon.
Grimdark, the Night Avenger. It'd be something like that.
Look at the big bulbous cyan head going on.
Wicked, isn't it?
Oof,
See,
so cool.
This is very like a tank orange striker.
Yeah.
Shapes. But you look at it and it's like this toy line. One of the things you can't level any criticism about it for is it is so creative. That's
hugely,
They are doing whatever they want and it's kind of cool. It's cool.
It's very cool.
And then you look at this guy and you're like, he's really in any other toy line, you'd be like, he'd be quite inventive and unique. He's got like a real Warhammer mech sort of vibe.
Yeah, it does.
But then in this toy line, you're like, man, he just looks really normal.
Yeah, really, I know.
So different.
It's so true.
Well, that top right grey, not the very top right, the one to the left of it, is a bit bludgeon in the way it's got that kind of skull.
It's quite six-shotty as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
there is.
Definitely. It's just so wild how, like, on one character, they're like, this head could look like this, or this, or this. And all the ideas are so varied and different.
Yeah.
The last one, the big fat Krang head.
I love that.
Hilarious.
It's brilliant. That could
funny.
be just some kind of floating pod thing
Yeah.
that disconnects from the main robot.
Mad, isn't it?
It's like the spaceship from Flight of the Navigator.
It does. It does.
Like,
Yeah.
Navigator.
Exactly.
I do love the little very 90s cable that's going from his waist to his gun.
To his gun, you gotta have some
have a big
kind of
cable.
lube for your gun. That's what it's probably for.
Okay. You're talking about something else now, Jace, honestly.
I presume it's
Jason's cable goes
coming
from
from
his
his
hip
groin.
to his
Lubed
gun.
cable.
it's lube cable.
Oh.
God. So yeah, that's Immorticon. And there's
Not a winch, it's a hench.
God. We've next got Scavenger. This is a really interesting one. We'll talk a bit about why some of these designs are interesting in a minute, but I'm going to see what you make of this one first. This is a sort of like construction vehicle guy-ish.
Yeah, but I'm thinking whirl on that top right one.
Yeah. The robot shapes are. Yeah. But Scavenger is like Silverbolt is a name they.
Oh yeah,
they love.
Always one of the first. Every single line that comes.
Yeah,
there's a Scavenger.
Well, it was used in Beast Machines as well, of course, and in Armada, which is what you're going to see on this next one, because this next image really kind of shows you as well. A lot of people...
Like a Batmobile construction vehicle, isn't it?
It really totally is. Oh my God, it really is. But a lot of people have looked at that top right image especially and concluded that this must have been the sort of inspiration for Armada Scavenger, who of course you can see in the top left there. Because there's a lot of similarities.
It is fair, right? It's a fair comment, that, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, it's even the fact that they've got the same name and the sort of tank tread arms with the claws hanging off the bottom and everything. There's a lot going on there. I mean, it would depend on the color scheme of this guy, perhaps, but even the sort of general body shape and everything is quite similar. Now, again, Aaron Archer has said emphatically, no, this was not the case. Do you know what I mean? And the Armada Scavenger was a new design. But again, I just think as a general kind of soup of influence, it strikes me that like ideas like tank tread arms, it may not be that they're like, oh, let's take this Scavenger design and turn it into another Scavenger. But just the very notion of tank tread arms is cool. Let's do that. That's kind of how it might have worked.
And when they're designing this stuff, it's not like they just go, I think of a robot and I draw it.
Yeah.
They will be, when they're in the meetings, like brainstorming stuff, they will be looking through previous materials. And like you said earlier, when Aaron Archer said this stuff would probably have been in the background, you're like, this would have been quite freshly around the office and places, things fresh in the memory for people. And they would have been like pulling from this and be like, oh yeah, if we could do a new Scavenger, tread arms and stuff like that, influences, like that worked there. Maybe bring that over, and
I think so.
Without explicitly stating it,
I think from what I kind of gather, and he hasn't sort of explicitly said this, but it was sort of hinted at, I think there was probably a little bit of disdain from the sort of new incoming Transformers team for the kind of Beast era, and particularly Beast Machines and everything. I think there was probably a little bit of like, oh no, that's not our Transformers. That's not what we're doing. That's in the past. That's like old stuff. And I think probably the new team coming in were very keen to kind of establish their identities, you know what I mean? Kind of working on Armada, and it's like a new thing and whatever else. So I would imagine that there's probably a little bit of historical built-in sort of tendency to distance what they did from what we're looking at here, if that makes sense. But still, I think
it was the vibe of the time, though. Just generally everywhere, it was very much time to move on from that sort of.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's Scavenger. I mean, I think you can see the influence very clearly. Silverbolt is next. This is quite another weird one. Like, again, maybe this was the Beast Machines character, but I think what's interesting here is that this is called Silverbolt, who, of course, in Beast Machines fiction was Jetstorm. So the Vircon Jetstorm.
He has those colours, doesn't he?
Was Silverbolt underneath it all. And here it kind of looks like Jetstorm to me.
Yeah, really does.
It really does.
It's a cool looking jet mode again, but the robot mode is very strange with its wideness. But again, it's so Gundam anime coded. Like,
really is.
The face in the top left, and you're like, that is the most anime head robot design you could have come up with. It's fantastic. Then you have the cool middle ones where you're like, oh yeah, now we're back into random crazy territory.
It's quite samurai, isn't it? A lot of it. Like, there's a real kind of samurai vibe. Particularly the sort of middle head sculpt and things that they kind of got going on. So
bottom on there with his jellyfish flaps hanging off the side.
Yeah, but quite animalistic as well. Like, I've just posted the final design there as well, and you're right. There is a sort of almost a jellyfish vibe to it. Weirdly, like it is obviously an airborne vehicle, but it looks quite aquatic.
Yeah, it looks really organic. It's that kind of blobby. Yeah, it's a strange mix, isn't it?
Yeah,
it does. It looks like it's just in this picture where it's coloured with the blue and purple. It's got that kind of like a manta ray sort of feel, not like a depth charge sort of.
Yeah, Jason can relate to that one.
My favourite.
You know about depth charge, don't you, Jason?
I do. Yeah, this one doesn't have the discs at the front.
No, the pizza discs.
Yeah, I love those.
The pizza.
What do you think so far, Jace?
These are they're. There's no real consistency, is there?
Not
it's
majorly.
like, they're just kind of like, they're obviously just spitballing a lot here as well. When I first saw those profile pictures again, though, just there, it was like, it made me think of the trackers from the Decepticon trackers in Bumblebee movie.
All right.
And the way that they were styled in this kind of like helmet that they had on, and it was like kind of samurai mech type thing that was going on. Particularly the one at the top left. I just went and had a look, and there's a wee bit of that overlap. But
the scavenger picture, the one in the top left?
Yeah.
There's a side profile. That is really, when you look at it, like, that looks just like the Blitzwing, that Seeker design from the movie.
Yeah.
Like the robot mode is very much that.
Absolutely.
You see that again, like you say there, yeah.
But they're, I quite like, I like the plane. I just don't entirely know... That's very techno-organic, isn't it? This one,
majorly so.
Yeah, it's like I'm not entirely sure how that's working, but then they didn't either.
No, they didn't necessarily know either.
Thing, right? So,
yeah, I mean, again, don't forget, potentially, 2 or 3 prototypes made, and those would have been the designs that were sort of fast-tracked, if you like, for development, purely to kind of sell the line. And it's very possible that a lot of what we're seeing here would have changed hugely on its way to plastic, now we've just got a couple more, just literally kind of at the end of it now, and a lot of this just exists not in its final form. I mean, here is Night Scream, who is Liam's favorite character from Beast Machines.
Did you not hear me just gasp like,
oh god.
When you mentioned we're going to do Transtech, our first thought was, oh god, Night Scream returns.
And here he is,
the worst Transformer ever. But then this design, the one on the bottom right, I'm like, that's cool.
Very Geiger.
Again, it's an Evangelion.
It is, but it's this is very gothic. Geiger, that kind of. I would have liked them if they'd done this line for the Decepticons to lean into this more.
This guy's a good guy, believe it or not.
No,
in Beast Machines.
This
Beast Machines he was.
Absolutely is.
It's the worst fringe of all flipping time.
Right. What, do you not like the hair? His little hair?
No.
His quiff.
Elvis. What's that?
Do you know what Beast
Machines... left him in that
Machines...
flipping cave where they found him.
Jason, do you know what Beast Machines Night Scream looks like?
I've probably seen it, but please find something so I can gasp in horror when I see it.
Oh my god.
He looks like that thing that haunts your nightmares, Jason.
Oh no.
Oh my god, Jason. Hang on. I've got to find a picture for you now.
Okay. Oh,
surprisingly few pictures of him on the internet. Do you know what I mean?
It's because it's probably been like Google had to remove them because it's too traumatic.
Here we go. I've got two. I've got a body picture and a close up of the head, because that does need to be seen,
to be appreciated, does it?
Seen.
You know what normally happens when you show me these things? I get flat. No.
Look at that forehead, Jason. It's like someone's drawn one of your caves.
Yeah, exactly. It's a ball sack.
Was that what you were drawing with your cave? Because I was thinking it was something else entirely, Jason.
That's a vagina ball sack. What is going on there? That's both.
Look at the hair. Look, people talk smack about Wheelie, but he's like flipping George Clooney next to this.
That is
God, look at it.
It's confusingly reminded me of Beverly Crusher in the right one, because of the hair and the blue out.
Maybe don't expand on that, Jason. After what you just said, the forehead looks like.
I'm ignoring the middle of her head, but that's horrible.
Night Scream is appropriate, because I had night screams after seeing this and Beast.
Night terror.
Why do these things
He's
exist?
the worst looking Transformer of all time. I've never seen anything worse. And that includes that weird. What's that weird? Goopy thing in the Beast Wars, the like weird aliens, like some sort of protoform thing. What's it called? What's it called?
Transmutate.
Yeah, that weirdness.
Right, yeah.
That's normal, better than...
Here's the toy, Jace. Here's the toy. Beast Machine's toy.
Well, that's somewhat less offensive. But,
honest to God, man, like, if you didn't know what he sounded like in the show, I would think he, like, from the photos of the animation, I think he sounded like, The Room. That film. Like, Mark. That's what I heard. Look at that head.
Giant hands. The little Floop of hair. Oh.
So it's actually one of the biggest Beast Machine's toys as well.
We're not bigger than Cheetor. No, Cheetor wasn't Beast
not
Machine.
as big as Cheetor, but it's like it's like an ultra. It's massive.
No,
absolutely
oh my
massive.
goodness.
The thing that always kills me about the toys, I know people want accurate toys, but they've even sculpted the hair, and it
just looks so creepy. What is it transforming into though?
A bat. He transforms into a bat.
Oh, it's a bat. Right. Okay.
Yeah, he's a little bat. I'll see if there's a picture of the bat mode.
Right.
Oh, here's the bat mode. Yeah, the bat mode's quite cool.
He's putting the into bat shit. That's what it is. Absolutely.
Oh,
God.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, okay. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, the bat mode's all right.
Yeah, the bat mode's fine.
Night Scream is what happens when you transform this at night.
Basically. Yeah. It's like, I think Liam already made that joke.
Oh, I took your joke, Liam. Sorry.
It's all right.
I was too traumatized by the ball sack vagina.
God. Ball sack vagina.
You know, well, I don't know if that miniseries will be live by the time we go with the focus, but someday we should do one focusing on this awful, horrible, terrible toy.
Yeah, we should come back to it, definitely. But I have the
There's
toy.
a new miniseries. Horrors.
Transformers horrors. I have the toy, but I've never transformed it because, of course, it's loaded with like very breakable clear plastic and stuff. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what mode is it in?
Even worse.
In bat mode.
Okay, just keep it in bat mode.
worse.
Just keep it in bat mode. You don't want to see that floop of hair. That's just so bad.
Who made this toy?
notoriously
Was it
fragile
Satan? Did he do this himself? Is he the designer?
Anyway, that's Beast Machine's Night Scream. I had to show it to you, but that's the character that, well, certainly the name that they're going for here in that concept art. And there's one more to look at tonight before we sort of talk about a few little bits, but is Black Arachnia.
Oh.
Also had some.
You forget there was one of these.
Yeah. And this is really out there, honestly. This is like, what? But I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
A lot going on there. Some very different designs. The bottom right one, which is just a pencil drawing, I think that is wicked.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Again, like we've talked about before, that they have made some very prominent choices with the anatomy on this one.
Yeah, I don't like that so much.
Again, though, it's hard to be too critical of it in the context of the time when you're looking at this is what that era of time looked like in comics.
It is. It was the sort of Rob Liefeld era of
no waste.
Of drawing women that was just in a way that was physically impossible for them to
just
live.
snap.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like hyper exaggerated proportions and things.
What is so it's ridiculous in the fact that they've blatantly drawn large boobs, but what they've done on that face on drawing there is created. There's quite clearly arachnid eyes and mandibles in that central part of the torso as well, with multiple eyes that are red.
Cyclops visor.
And it's kind of cool. I quite like that. From
something really creepy there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really nice in the way they've done it, and the way they've put all those little dots all over and stuff like that, which is like, very poisonous, very dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is the one that I think looks closest to maybe this and Cheetor to its sort of Beast Machine's heritage. This feels like a sort of very natural evolution from Beast Machines in a way. I can sort of feel it. So, but I don't know. So yeah, there you go. That's the concept art basically. I mean, a lot of this was dumped online. There was also included in that this next image, which I will share only because obviously Drexel Jump also did some other concept art and things. Now, this is a picture of Soundwave. I don't believe this was intended for Transtech. I think a lot of people assumed that it was because it was included with the sort of, the leak, if you like, or the dump of images. And so a lot of people have sort of shared it online since going, oh, this is Transtech Soundwave. But I think this was meant to be like a separate thing. But I'm fairly certain, if you've not seen this, that you'll both think it's very cool.
Yeah, I've seen this.
I've never seen this. But I agree, it looks cool.
It's wicked, isn't it?
What is wicked. It? I want it. That's amazing.
It's absolutely incredible. Just like it, instantly Soundwave, but instantly something very different as well.
I love the buttons on his thigh.
Yeah.
He's got a graphic equalizer going on. And
yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Case study, top secret. Love it.
Yeah, just throwing it in here because it is by Drexel Jump and it is kind of, it was released at the same time, but apparently not for Transtech. But I would have loved to have seen something.
I love that. That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
just super cool. And as you say, Liam, like the little play button and stuff on his thigh.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Love that.
So that was sound, but as I say, I don't think was intended for Transtech at all. And then really the other bit that I just kind of wanted to acknowledge was kind of how Transtech has sort of influenced, wider Transformers and how it was kind of carried forward. I mean, interestingly, Draxel Jump did do, which I have here, they did do some of the concept art for Armada as well. There was a very famous image that was sort of seen, which you can see here just at the bottom, particularly. It's quite hard to make out, but you can sort of see that they did like drawings of minicons and things like that in there, like a whole battle of like minicons coming off a larger robot. And that was sort of an influence, if you like, towards Armada. They were involved in that sort of early concept stage. There's been talk that like some of Draxel Jump's art influenced Armada Demolisher, but again, that's sort of not known if that's necessarily true or not. Aaron Archer was asked about it, and he was like, "Maybe." Do you know what I mean? But he's not 100% sure.
There's a really early concept drawing of Armada Optimus Prime as well, which looks nothing like the Armada we've got, but it looks very Draxel Jumpy. I always remember it's like one of the early concepts.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And when you see it, and you're like, oh yeah, it looks very much like their art.
I think so, definitely. I mean, obviously, we've talked about Scavenger and how that looks like Armada Scavenger. Megatron looks like Armada Megatron a little bit. I think even Immorticon, you can sort of see with that sort of tank mode and things, there's some influence there potentially.
Immorticon, I didn't pick it. They would have been immortified. How badly that one is.
Yeah, that's true. Obviously, we know that Cheetor later came back and influenced animated Blur. Like that one is confirmed, and then got the repainted toy as well. Optimus, as you pointed out, Jace, looked a bit like War for Cybertron or Fall of Cybertron or whatever, and so that's all like a thing.
That's Red Alert in this art, isn't it, as well?
Red Alert?
Armada Red Alert at the bottom of this sketch.
I think it is. Yeah.
Cars.
Yeah, it
very
totally
much Armada Red Alert, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot in there that you can kind of see is like definitely Armada. So, and the other real oddity that is not confirmed, but again, I don't think it would have been as simple as like them taking the designs and just reworking them. But apparently, Draxel Jump did also work on a line of Marvel Metamorphs as well. So these were like transforming interpretations of Marvel heroes, basically.
Remember them?
Yeah. That came out a little bit after this. And
did a comic on them, I think, as well.
I think
it did.
Maybe so, yeah. Believe you might be right.
I think I've got it.
That does not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Pop culture hoover that you are. So
that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, apparently they did work on sort of concept art for that. And so I don't think there's necessarily anything to this, but these are the images that are often shared online. There's just two of them. And you can see one is a Morticon, and people talk about how that might have influenced the Hulk design that was used there. And the other is Starscream into Iron Man. And people quite strongly feel that there's a sort of similarity between those two as well. And, did Draxel Jump take some of their work and kind of carry it over or whatever? So I think maybe, but again, I don't think it would have been as simple as them going, hey, let's turn that into that,
Yeah, and also it's, I don't know, it's not that, those two designs are not that...
they're not that similar, are they?
Yeah, and it's like coming up with the concept of like, this is a plane that transforms into Iron Man, and there's a way you're going to do that, which is kind of like
I think
kind of given. Yeah. So whether it's Draxel Jump doing that, and also even just the relationship they've got with Hasbro, there will be very strict rules about how they can use that concept artwork and stuff like that. And I suspect Hasbro owned that stuff as well.
The Iron Man as well, like you look at those wings and initially you're like, oh no, I can see it. But at this time, I think we would have probably been House of M sort of area of time. And so when they were redrawn Iron Man, they often gave him a lot of those fin sort of things.
It was very much of the era
and stuff. So but the Hulk tank, I always remember this because I always thought, oh, they've just copied what's his face, Tankor from Beast Machines, the robot mode. That's just all I thought that was.
Yeah,
but I remember these people don't like these toys, but I just remember at the time being like, cool, like more Transformers, it's sort of things.
That's essentially what they are. I mean, look, I don't think there was an influence. I think it's just the fact that Draxel Jump worked on it and people like put two and two together, But I think it's like anything. I mean, it's the same as when you look at Armada and you say, was this a direct influence there? And it's like, it all goes into the mix.
It's in your cerebellum, isn't it? Your
exactly.
Subconscious is there, and then it's how you create and interpret stuff.
There's a continuity of design where, particularly if you've got people overlapping in terms of the teams working on stuff, that naturally it's going to kind of hang around, and designs are going to be kept in mind and things like this. I mean, again,
recycled, man, because it's wastage otherwise, isn't it?
Well, it is.
People have spent time designing stuff, and it's at the end of the day, it's time and money. Like, if you are then having to do another product, it's like, well, could we just do it from the ground up, or could we quickly take some elements from other things that we've already done as well and kind of incorporate them and speed the process up and save? Because designers are humans. They're not all designing these toys thinking this is the greatest moment of my life, this is my masterpiece. A lot of time it is just, man, I have been forced to make a toy that turns the Hulk into a weird tank. What have we got in the background?
Saying that wasn't their magnum opus,
This was my dream job. I always wanted to create a pancake tank out of the Hulk.
Pancake tank.
A pancake tank.
Oh dear. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because looking back,
it's a great design.
It is.
The person who's listening.
It's looking back at it now, you can sort of see that its influence has lived on a little bit. But again, it's strange because you're right, Liam. Actually, the amount of work that went into this, and particularly the prototypes and things which are being fast tracked, it is unusual, because I think actually if Takara had a hand in any of this, some of this would have been reused, no doubt. Takara are notorious for not wasting designs, not particularly when stuff has got to the hard copy stage, and there's been. Even if it's not like mass market tooling or whatever, but models have been made and things like that. Takara don't typically give up on this stuff and just let it die. That's very unusual for them.
They're recyclers.
Yeah, they really are.
There's no wastage with Takara, but with this stuff, I think people have to remember, like, you think of this line being cut off before it was going, and you think of it as like something that was maybe been around for like a day or two of just some sketches, but it's not.
No.
A significant amount of time and money would have been sunk into this. They would have had to write that off when Golden made that decision. And it's like, I think that's, you kind of have to remember with Transtech, that's when you were saying at the start, you were exactly right when you're saying like nothing like this really had happened, because you think of toy lines being cancelled and what it's usually a wave, like a later wave goes. It's not a whole toy line with this much work in. It has happened before. There are other examples of like video games that happens quite commonly all this time, but with a toy line, particularly in Hasbro terms, it is like you said at the start, unprecedented.
It's a complete one-off. I mean, even if you look at some of the stuff that didn't get released at the end of Beast Machines, because that was at the point it was cancelled.
It's a wave, though, isn't it?
It was a wave, it was a wave. And those toys still made it into other lines. Like, they came back for Robots in Disguise and things like this. And Aaron Archer will tell you that there was a real precedent of, like, don't waste stuff. So for them to just take all of this work and just bin it overnight is like, it's unfathomable, really. Like, it's really unusual.
Look at the nearest thing I think of recently, Reactivate. The game died.
The
toys still came out because
released,
they were like, we're not wasting these molds or things we've invested time and money in.
They're
coming out anyway. And it's funny because I look at this toy line now, and I think this toy line, Transtech, was the wrong toy for that toy line for the time. It was the right move to get rid of it. It was
absolutely
the end of a series in Beast Wars of Beast Machines where it was time for it had run its course and it was time to move on to things. Now, in 2026, I look at Transtech, and not specifically Transtech, but this kind of idea is exactly what we need. Something so new and so different.
So true.
That takes us away from the stuff that we were keen to get back to then. This kind of car stuff, regular kind of looking Transformers. It's 26 years now, isn't it? Or 25 years. It's been so long.
Absolutely agree. I think if they dropped stuff like this tomorrow and said, here's your new Transformers, I think a lot of people would be like, what the f***? Do you know what I mean? But I think that would be good, actually. Like, you kind of need that shocking, we're going to mix it up
weird
element.
It's so different that it becomes its own thing instantly and breaks away from what we've been having, which is stuff I love. But at the same time, I can see, in terms of keeping the brand alive, it needs this new, something completely weird and different that puts a lot of people off, but brings a lot of new people in.
Well, this is it. I mean,
that's the challenge, isn't it?
It is. But you got to think back to when the 2007 movie started rearing its head. and a lot of people hated what they were seeing. They hated the designs, they hated the look of it. But actually, again, we're laughing because it wasn't that dissimilar from what we're seeing here. And I kind of feel you're right, Liam. Like if they just did that again and just put something out there like this that just made that bold statement, there would be a lot of people that would hate it, but it would find its fans as well.
I agree to a certain extent. I don't think that Transtech is the right style, to be honest, and what they did.
That's what I said. It's not specifically Transtech, just something
that breaks the mold.
New. Something as shocking as this.
Because that's what animated was, right? Animated was that in the fact that they took like such a stylistic,
a bold step,
toy line and put that out to retail from the cartoon. Yeah, because the Transtech stuff is just too similar to every other kind of brand that we've talked about tonight that's out there as well.
It was the absolute right decision to can Transtech.
Because, Armada absolutely was the line that brought me back into Transformers and across the board, didn't it? Which was, when we look back at it, the influence that it had to not only bring original fans back in, but a whole lot of new fans as well, and in the comics that we got, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So can't have seen that happened with Transtech as well. No. But I do agree it would be lovely to get a line that isn't just regurgitating what's been before.
Absolutely. I think it's not specifically Transtech.
That's what it needs. I think
that's exactly it. Something on this level.
Transtech was the dying embers of something that had already been.
Yeah.
But like you look at it now and you're like, it needs that fresh, complete reinvention of characters.
Yeah. Totally agree.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Okay, well, it's that time for the part of the pod where we talk about our sponsor. That is, as ever, tfsource.com, who you can go and check out for all your Transformers needs. And we're going to look at what they've got in stock and available for pre-order right now and talk about a particular item and just kind of chew over it a little bit, really. And I think, Liam, there was something you wanted to look at, wasn't there?
Oh, baby, yes. And that is the brand new Age of the Primes, Sentinel Prime.
Oh. What do you think?
So good. Yeah, I love it. I've wanted this toy for so many years, this design. When it popped up very briefly, I was like, man, that is such a cool looking Sentinel Prime. And then I couldn't believe it when this toy appeared in my feed the other day. I thought it was a Digibass at first. The very first picture appeared. I was like, oh, God, someone's tormenting me here. And I was like, wait, what? It's real? They've actually made this exact thing.
Yeah.
It is a retool of Tarn. Very, very heavy
retool
of Tarn.
Yeah.
But, like, they have nailed that image from the comic, the IDW's thing. Just that look of him. It's so wonderful. I can't believe
it's
it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I still, until this point, thought this was a Digibash until I saw it for sale on TF Source. And I'm so pleased it's available. I am now, however, regretting not getting all the other primes because you've got to clip in all their stuff, don't you?
You've got
shield.
It comes with a plate. Yeah.
It comes with a coffee table of mystery.
Commemorative plate.
Coffee table of the Prime.
It's a beautiful. It's a beautiful coloured figure.
It is, isn't it? I love the orange.
So nice. It's the orange and yellow combination with the red pants. Looks great. Looks absolutely great.
It's incredible how well that tar mold has been adapted to other things like this and bludgeon, and just it's the dynamism of it, because the Tarn was designed based off a comic, so it's got this like lanky, thin frame, and it's just so expressive. I can't believe what they've done. It just is wonderful. I don't really care much for the ashtray of the Prime accessory, but the robot is wicked, man. It just like when we were at Mini TFN in Manchester, and you picked up the Titans Return one.
I did, yeah.
Which I've now seen people start selling.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
But I really like that toy. But I remember when I got that, and my head was like, I like it. I just wish it was that. So it's weird now to finally have.
It's weird. I'm happy to have both, honestly, because that was very IDW2 Sentinel Prime. This is very IDW1, isn't it? And so it is a sort of different iteration of the character and everything, and something that looks a bit different.
IDW2 Sentinel, it is IDW1 as well, because it's Titans Return, isn't it? Which takes place in IDW1.
True, I suppose, yeah.
But I mean, he appears in this way at the start of IDW1, but he appears as the shuttle
later on.
And as the toy, because that at that point in IDW, that's where Hasbro got involved and started going, make things of the toys now.
Make it look like this.
So we had the Combiner Wars
sell toys,
stuff, which when we get to that in More Than Meets the Eye is quite fun in some ways. It's quite sad in others. But then I want to ask James about that actually. But Titan's Return, yeah, they used the shuttle and its head is GB Blackrock. You remember from the Marvel comics?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
Galaxy
of
Blackrock
course,
and
of course.
But it was always kind of tinged with, you know, that thing where it was they'd just done it because they had Astro Chain as well, and it was like it's a recolor. That's just what Hasbro did. This you're like, this is the guy. This is the guy.
This is so cool.
That's where these over the shoulder things come. Like everyone pivots them that way on the Titan's Return toy to mimic this design. You know, and it's just cool. Like even the vehicle mode. I've seen a lot of people disliking the vehicle mode. I think it's amazing.
I think it's so cool. I can't believe that's the Tarn tank that turns into this.
Yeah, it's impressive, isn't it? Yeah.
It's the Yoga Hedgehog of Doom. Look at it. It's like the way he's holding his knees, like all curled up. But when you look at it, it's like that sort of 70s, early 80s Japanese kind of thing, because it looks like when they did their own version of the Thunderbirds, it's that thing. Or also the Power Rangers Zords. Like if you told me this was some sort of Space Force, whatever that thing is, Power Rangers called Japan Super Carmen Sentai Ninjas, whatever that guy. Smarties have the answer. That sort of thing. If you told me it was something from that, I'd be like, yeah, it looks like a cool Zamboni thing. It just
it does look like a Zamboni. Yeah.
But what makes me really, really like it is it looks nothing like any other Transformers vehicle mode we've had.
Agreed.
They haven't just made a little tank. They haven't just made a car. It's not just bludgeon. It's its own really weird thing that looks less like a tank and more like some kind of rescue vehicle. You know, it's this kind of doesn't conform to any of the kind of standard Transformers rules, and I really like that. And yeah, I just think it's cool. It's just cool.
So cool.
It's like a foot. Big robot elephant's foot.
It's going to be the first of these that does it count as one of the primes? Is he Sentinel Prime?
Technically, yeah. It's not one of the 13, but I think what's cool as well is that someone pointed out, if you look at the box art and kind of see what's going on there, they're obviously doing a sort of Transformers 1 thing where he's got all the prime artifacts. And if you look at the background, there's a load of dead primes, all the bodies just like hanging about.
Yeah, totally.
So he's doing the, I've nicked your
I've got all your sparks.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
So they are kind of rebranding him as like the Transformers 1 kind of villainous.
I guess. I mean, if only, right, there was some packaging bio or something that kind of
to explain
filled
what was
this
going
in. You know what I mean? Beyond just the front drawing, it would be lovely if they kind of did that, or some fiction or something to kind of add some spice to some of this. Just anything, really. Do you know what I mean? But
explain what's happening.
Yeah, there isn't. So we have to kind of fill it in our minds.
It just looks like the sharing platter of the primes, doesn't it? It's just got a big plate.
Just a massive commemorative plate, yeah. It's so weird.
He's just going to stick it on the wall of the Ark and be done with it.
But at this point in the comics, this version of Sentinel Prime, I think he's still a good guy, because he's just basically just dies, doesn't he? There's only real point in it. I think so. And I think it's only later they rebadge him as a bad guy,
Yeah, for sure.
But this man, I think this toy looks great. And another really little thing that goes a long way with this toy for me, and it's because we're so used to seeing things stripped out of things, but they put little wheels underneath the treads.
They have.
And they don't really do that for toys anymore.
No, which is super cool. I appreciate that. I never enjoyed just scuffing a toy along the desk, so... wheels on these things is much appreciated. I think what was really strange about this was the reveal was like a real roller coaster online for a lot of people, because it was like initially there was I think it was a Chinese sort of silhouette image that was dropped, wasn't there? It had Chinese text on it.
We were talking about it in the morning, weren't we?
We were, and so that got unveiled, and it said in Chinese that this was going to be Sentinel Prime, and obviously it had been rumored that a new Sentinel Prime toy was coming with some add-on bits and things. And so people were like all primed for like something new and whatever. And then when the silhouette dropped, people quickly identified that it was a Tarn retool, but we couldn't see what it looked like. So of course, everybody was initially crushed, just like, oh, what? A Tarn retool? How's that going to work? Like it'll just be a bit half-hearted and whatever. And then the promo pics and that dropped like, not a day later, and everyone was like, oh my God, it looks amazing. And then quickly they looked at the price and they went, it's how much? Because it's a ridiculous amount of money.
Expensive Voyager ever.
It's a lot of money, yeah.
It is, but it's one of those things where I can see the thing with the money. I totally understand that. And particularly for me at the minute, like, I can't really afford it, but looking at it, it's just one of those things that's like, I'm so glad it exists.
Yeah.
And it looks like this. Like, they've made it look exactly like how I would want it to look. And it's hard for me to I don't like the price, but at the same time, I'm like, they've made it. It's
I know what you mean. I want to have
weird.
it. I hate the price. I think the price is shocking.
It'll go down, won't it?
I hope so. I hope so. Definitely. So the dinner plate thing I could leave, honestly. But
oh god, yeah,
it's a fun idea.
I quite like the dinner plate, but that would just make me buy all the others, and I can't do that. So yeah.
Well, you could.
They were teasing the dinner plate for ages, weren't they? That there was another thing coming at some point that would combine all the artifacts, and then you see this, and you're like, really?
Yeah.
Just took them on a dartboard.
Yeah. What's really weird is that if you look at the picture with all the artifacts pinned onto it, I mean, firstly, let's ignore the fact that if you do this, then half the primes don't have some fairly vital accessories.
Yeah. They collapse in a heap and they get stabbed.
Some of them you can get away with it, but I think for Amalgamus, that's like his eye. That's like his main eye, for example. Yeah. So that's quite weird. But what's really weird here is that the Vector Prime sword, which is the orange sword just there, is not the sword from Legacy Vector Prime. It's a completely new sword.
New mold entirely.
Yeah. Well, this is it. And I've been arguing this point online, and people are like, oh, it's just a repaint. And I'm like, it's not. If you you zoom in, it's definitely different molding on the hilt, especially. So
it's a flappy little peg, doesn't it, on the other one?
It does. It does, yeah. So does that imply that we're getting a new Vector Prime, or that this new Vector Prime will be significantly retooled and maybe have some new elements to it? There's a lot to kind of ponder there.
There has been talk of that for a while, though, preceding this, that there was a leak somewhere that there was a Vector Prime coming, and I just assumed it would be a repaint in that sort of gold colour scheme. Because the mold was released, where was it? In one of the legacies, wasn't it? I've got it with that upgrade kit. But I'd love to see a new one. I think I would be very miffed if they retooled it and it was better, because the other one is just fine.
Yeah.
But I think having purchased that one so recently, I think it would be a slap in the face for them to.
I think that's probably what they're going to do. I think
slightly better.
I think it'll either be a new toy, but this strikes me as unusual for them to do that. Yeah, exactly.
It would be really soon.
It would be really soon. I think it's far more likely that it's a retool of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, my assumption would be maybe a repaint, just with some new accessories.
Maybe a couple of new elements.
Comes with Safeguard. Was it Safeguard he came with?
Safeguard, yeah, the minicom.
I wonder if it's that and a new sword.
Maybe. Or maybe I wouldn't mind if they did things like retool the shins, for example, because people always moan about the shins. And you've got those little clips sort of left over from Jaxus and stuff.
Yeah.
And even the wings, I think, could be improved on. I really like Vector Prime, but...
No, see, I bought the DNA upgrade kit because I thought it was a fine toy, but all of those elements were not great. The shins, the clips on this, all of the things, the wings, the little piddly wings. But I think having bought this, I think it's a bit unfair, particularly in this current climate, to put out and now here's actually the better version.
Well,
that one we gave you before.
This is what they do, though.
Just bought. Yeah, but it just seems really soon. I can't remember another time where they would put out the same character so fast when it's not Optimus Prime with a new mold. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Just feels weird to do that.
But Sentinel Prime is a thing, and it's a very expensive thing, but it's a very lovely thing. So that's the dilemma, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but you both going in on this then?
I will. I've not bought any of them at this point, and I love it. But no Missing Link is where I'm buying at the moment. So I will. No.
You say that now, Jason.
I say that now.
You had a total,
and then it'll come out.
Total look of hesitation on your face.
Yeah, I did. Because it looks really cool. But I'm trying to be a good boy because I'm.
You're always a good boy, Jason. Be bad.
But if you're going to get it from TF Source.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yes, well, do. Go and get yourself a copy. tfsource.com. It's available for pre-order right now. So what are you waiting for?
We now return to the Transformers.
So that's going to do it for Transtech, a look back at the 25-year-old toy line that never was. And I didn't mention this earlier, guys, but this was actually born out of a mini-sode commission, believe it or not.
Mini-sode?
A mini-sode, I know.
Mini-sode.
Yeah, initially this was going to be a mini-sode, and then I think I said to you both like a couple of weeks ago, we've got this mini-sode to do. And then I was like, I kind of feel like it should be a full episode. And I think Liam very enthusiastically was like, yes, it should.
I was mortified because I came into the chat later and I saw you say it was going to be a mini-sode. And I was like, wait, no. And I was actually typing a reply, and then as I was scrolling down, like looking at it, I was like, oh no, we've passed this conversation now and come back.
I'm impressed you actually read the context of the conversation before replying, because that doesn't always happen in our threads. But
it just feels like I was like straight away. It's like, no, that's an episode topic. Yeah. That is a full episode,
and quite a meaty one, as it turns out. Yeah. So yeah, but I do want to say thank you to Tongarian, who say it both ways. Have it both ways. There you go. Tongarian, who is one of our patrons, who suggested this.
Game of Thrones guys.
I think it's a mix of Tarn and and what is it from Game of Thrones? Targaryen. That's it. Thank you.
I didn't even watch it, because when I watched it up until they burned some child alive at a stake, and I was like, I'm out, guys. Yeah. This is too heavy for me here.
You noped out at that point. Yeah. But yeah, that was an idea from them. And this is part of what we do on our Patreon, of course, is that we take mini-sode commissions, and typically they are mini-sodes, more kind of around the half an hour mark, something like this. But sometimes they run longer, like over an hour. It just sort of varies, but not normally 2.5 hours. It's fair to say that's it's a little bit more full episode for us. But you can get your own commission and everything as well if you go to patreon.com/triple takeover. I've already mentioned some of the perks tonight, but there is a lot of stuff on there. You get everything from early access to main episodes. You get onto our Discord. You get to ask us questions. You get your name read out by Jason every other episode. You get... which is always fun. You get all kinds of bonus material as well. I mean, we have got so much stuff on there now. We've got like 120 something minisodes and like loads of mini-series on a range of topics. And we're doing a new mini-series as well, which is great fun. And actually, that will have gone live by the time this is going live. So I could probably say what that is now, but it's all about repaints in Transformers history. So that just adds to the back catalogue of stuff that we've already got on there. So seriously, if you're not a patron already, please do go and sign up at patreon.com/triple takeover. We greatly appreciate it. And otherwise, thank you to our sponsors. That is tfsource.com and valar.co.uk as well. So you should check them out and use code triple takeover for, what was it, Jace? What was the perk?
25% off for your first 3 months.
Very good. You said that so confidently.
I did, because I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah, there you go. Fantastic. So, final thoughts on Transtech for the night, guys? What do you think?
Glad it was a line that we could see but never happened.
Oh, you didn't want it to happen?
Yeah. We did. Armada was the right route.
It was the right route. Yeah.
For the
definitely. At the time, definitely.
It's a cool mystery to still exist in a world where, in pop culture, where mysteries are increasingly shrinking. You know, everything's being revealed, and sort of you can have post-mortem of every single thing and see every detail. It's nice that Transtech never got to a point where all that information's there, that we still left to speculate. And there's still things that will probably come up as time goes on, which is fun.
I'd hope so. I would love to see the Optimus prototype at some point. Yeah. You know, if ever that emerged, to see what that looks like. It will
be somewhere like these. Yeah. There are the physical prototypes we looked at, and like they're somewhere too.
Yeah, true. But yeah, that's going to about do it for us. So tell us your thoughts on Transtech. You can get on all the socials or on our Discord if you're one of our patrons, and let us know your thoughts as well. And otherwise, we'll catch you for the next episode.
You wouldn't steal a loaf of bread.
You wouldn't steal a car.
You wouldn't steal a toy design.
No. It's a ball sack.